Yo, 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 yo. This is the Weekend Rhyme, another episode brought to you by According to Hip Hop. My name is Ron. That's Leroy Green. You see him posted up virtually. You really posted up in front of the Marathon store. You just, that's
Yeah,
your
man.
background.
Yeah, I got to post up in front of the store, man. You know what I mean? Go ahead and invite y'all to the brick and mortar. These type of things is really still going on. There's people in hip hop that got brick and mortar stores. They got locations where they do hip hop, and I got a rep for the people that do that. You know, Nipsey, he's the more famous one, respectfully as he should be. But there are a lot of artists that go out and buy physical locations. I'll be in Oakland between somewhere between the 4th and 17th of September. They're doing workshops down there at a Beats Rhymes and Life. That's a brick and mortar hip hop facility, kind of like Vector 90. We'll get into that as well. But these things really still exist. And anyone who's familiar with the West Oakland or any neighborhood in America, these type of things still exist. The same issues that Nipsey was dealing with still exist. So I just want to, if I can inspire somebody to keep the ball rolling, or to, that's what I'm here to do, man. Rest in peace, Nipsey Hussle. Got my Nipsey Hussle shirt. When I got my Nipsey Hussle shirt, it's gonna get real. It's gonna get real.
No doubt, no doubt. Well, first off, hello, Leroy. How are you? You kind of jumped off in there, man. How's the weekend? You been all right?
Oh yeah, man. I've been great, man. I've been great. It's ups and downs with everything, but even on the down, I gotta be real. Like every morning, I got a new chance to wake up and do something great. You know what I mean? So yeah, I'm having a great weekend, man. Hope you are as well. Just music, man. Getting into hip hop, what I love to do. So,
No doubt. I'm having a great weekend. I went to Home Depot today, got some things to Home Depot, so that was good. I
Okay.
always love going to Home Depot. It's a couple stores that I like, man. It's kind of different. I like going to Costco, and then no shameless promo. No, that's not an advertisement. I like to go to Costco.
Right.
I love Lowe's. I love Home Depot, man. I'll be watching these home improvement shows. So I'll be trying to learn a few things. I might start a whole new channel they call Ron redoes it. You know what I mean? I'll be remixing the crib. You know what I mean? So I did that today. My daughter came back in town. She was in DC for internship all summer. So I got all my kids home. So that's always a beautiful feeling, seeing all three of my children under one roof. So
No
so
doubt.
yeah, it's a blessing, man. It's a blessing. This is a good weekend. The weekend just now getting started. My wife and I, we watched some movies last night. We had a chance to just chill. And now
Wow.
we on the Weekend Ride, man, the number one weekend hip hop podcast in the game, man. So Leroy, you got a lot of topics you want to unpack tonight. We
Yeah.
got several directions. We're gonna talk about Nipsey. You kind of brought up Nipsey. We want
Yeah.
to talk about 38 Spesh. We want to talk about this complex Atlanta list that they put together, our feelings about that. And then with a little interesting at the end of this show, we want to get into another topic. We want to bring it to the movie game. We want to talk about Denzel in Gladiator 2. And we're gonna bring back the old school thing we did back when Mike Check, the second version of Mike Check started the Tubi movie review. We're gonna bring that back. So where you want to start, Leroy? What's good?
Let's do it. Let's do it. I'm here for all of it. You covered everything. I may rebuttal Mike in his comments about Busta Rhymes, but I'll save that towards the end. Shout out to MC Light. She's coming out with something new. I heard some music. I'm inspired. Shout out to Lady London. She carry on the torch of like a Little Kim. She's a dope MC. She's coming out pretty soon. Shout out to Talib Kweli. I just heard a new joint from him as well. But if you wanna
Let's
and
start with Nipsey. So
we get into Snoop too later on, like the Olympics thing, all that. But we can
yeah,
start.
let's take it out west. Let's talk to Nipsey. Talk to us about. So you're in the Bay. Nipsey unfortunately left us years ago in an unfortunate, tragic situation, but his
Right.
legacy still lives on. Tell us about Victory Lap, its impact in the game, what that album means to you, and what it means to a generation of hip hop fans in the wake of his departure.
Well, it means a lot to me because back in the day, I had some homies that were doing blogs. So I used to listen to music and and we talk on the phone and I give them my takes. So when Nipsey did the $100 mixtape, Crenshaw, I was super inspired by that. It was just something about how he rolled that out. I was inspired by that. So later comes Victory Lap. I felt it was what the title suggests, which is a victory lap. I was super happy for Nipsey, man, because I recognize where he comes from. I recognize the struggle that he represents. I recognize what he was trying to do, right? So when I heard the album, he's continuing along in those messages of a business. And if you remember, I was talking to when I was commenting before I was actually on the show, according to hip hop. But I used to comment to Mike and be like, "Yo, we need another element in hip hop. What could the other element be?" Right. So in my opinion, I think business should be an element, right? Because no matter how you slice it, we'll get into it as we go on the show, but you're going to need that business key in hip hop. Like, you're going to need it. It comes with how you deliver your music, how you find your audience, how you build your brand, merch, et cetera, et cetera. So you need the business key. And Nipsey, he is a blueprint. I can get into the specifics about what he was able to do before he passed, and it was a lot, man. It was just a lot. So that business key is a serious key, man. You know what I mean?
No doubt, no doubt. So what was some of your favorite records off Victory Lap? What was your favorite record on the joint?
So at first it was definitely the single, Rap Ninjas or rap niggas. You know what I mean? It was definitely the single because I just felt that energy, man. You know what I mean? People could view it however, but it's like to reach who you're trying to reach, sometimes you got to show that aggression, right? I liked the title track, Victory Lap. Thought that was awesome. Last time I checked, I liked all of them, but ones that stood out, Blue Laces 2. That was super dope to me. Hustle and Motivate. Of course, he took the Hard Knock Life sample, which was super dope. Million While You're Young, featuring The Dream. I really did enjoy that record. Also, Loaded Bases, and also Real Big and Right Hand to God. Like, these are records that I really like. I played these records something crazy. Like, I used to commute a lot, just going, back and forth to work and, different places. So I played the hell out of these records, man. You know what I mean? For real. You know what I mean? So those are the records I do that. Yeah.
No doubt, no doubt. So Nipsey, his entrepreneurial spirit always, was part of his aura, is part of his legacy. The marathon, the mixtape. When I first heard of Nipsey when he was selling those mixtapes at that price, you know what I'm saying? And he was on his way to becoming, he's a legend now, but he was on his way to becoming something great in the physical, right? He was already great in the physical, but he was on his way to taking that next level as an entrepreneur, as an MC, and as an artist for the West Coast, man. So definitely, man, it's an impact to the game. The album when he passed, he transitioned. Even before that, Victory Lap was bubbling, right? But when that unfortunate incident happened, every Miami, LA, Atlanta, people were showing Nipsey love, man. So yeah, man, it was.
The $100 mixtape, that's one thing, right? That's showing that you have faith in yourself and your brand. If there's anything I could inspire today, it's have faith in yourself, in your brand, because that's going to carry you, right? He had the Proud to Pay business model. That's a serious model that a lot of independent artists use today. Proud to Pay. It's more of like a direct to consumer. It's more of like you let the consumer decide what price they would like to pay. Some people, they're paying hundreds of dollars. I know a girl. She put out a EP. And she's an independent artist. Like her first thing, somebody paid her $777 for her EP just because they was cool. Like, oh, I really like this. I'm gonna give you $777. Like, okay, like, so that's Proud to Pay, the business model, right? He made $1.5 million just with that model. That's an estimate. That's without merch. That's without touring. That's just off that. He reopened the World of Wheels in LA. I don't know if y'all know about World on Wheels. legendary skate spot. I know in Atlanta y'all have your skating rings. In LA that's a one that a lot of it's history there. He partnered with the Fat Burger to do the clothing of the uniforms at Fat Burger. So they have the Marathon Crenshaw logo on their uniforms. He opened up a barbershop, Steve's Barbershop. He had the Follow Coin, a cryptocurrency platform. He had co-founded a STEM Academy. Come on, man. Destination Crenshaw. That was a public art exhibit. I think it's like a mile long of historic LA stuff in an art exhibit. And then we got and we got Vector 90. That's more of like a community space where young people can go in. They have access to computers, they have access to green screens, they have access to setups if they want to record. They have, he partnered with that. And then we just have the Marathon clothing store, the first smart store. Not only the store, but the store next to it, the fish spot. So it's like in real time, Nipsey is moving at a pace that is a mogul, that's super fast as a mogul. And he's not waiting on getting rich. He's moving before getting rich. You know what I mean? He's putting the faith in the brand and moving off just the inspiration before he's actually rich. So what I want to just tell the people, you don't have to wait to get rich to start these initiatives. Just start whatever you got to your name. Just put it down, do what you can do, right? He started, as a kid, he was shining shoes for $2.50. Then he got a table. He's selling t-shirts with a table. Then he's selling socks, t-shirts, boxers, DVDs, CDs, phones. He's moving his way up. So I'm not saying you got to start at $1 million level, but whatever level you start at, if you got that entrepreneurial spirit, Ron, I know you got that entrepreneurial spirit. This is according to hip hop. Like, you got to just start and just go. You know what I mean? Because you never know where that could lead you. No doubt.
Well, shout out to Nipsey. May his legacy live on. The marathon continues. The victory lap. We still running that lap, man. But let's segue into something else. We touched on it last week a little bit on Mic Check, but the Olympics are over. They had the closing ceremonies. Dr. Dre, Snoop Dogg, Billie Eilish were part of the LA transition team. That'll be in 2028. Right. But the talk of the town, the talk of the last 2 weeks, actually the talk of months, with hip hop being in his 50th year, was Breakin being at the Olympics. Now, there's been some controversy. I have my feelings on it. I didn't really get to share. But before I cook up, Leroy, what was your feelings on the representation of the art Breakin at the Olympics? And also in the chat, let us know what you thought about it. I know I wasn't feeling it. I thought it was some routines that were cool, but overall, it was a lot to left to the imagination of how the committee selected these breaking artists. What was the criteria to judge them? Why weren't the forefathers and pioneers of this art form present in the actual judging and scoring of the competition? So there's a lot left to be discussed. And also, it was also reported that it may not be in the 2028 Olympic Games. So it was a one and done situation. But what were your thoughts on the Breakin piece at the Olympics?
Well, I don't think it should be a one and done situation, because I feel like hip hop has paid its dues. Was I happy with what I saw? No, I'm not gonna lie and sit up here and tell you I was happy with it. But I do think I wanted to talk to people today about gatekeeping, and as a culture, right? Like they could have picked, obviously there's better breakdancers and wherever she's from, Australia, whatever. They got better breakdancers, but just as far as the pull off on how to do that, right? I wasn't satisfied with, and they didn't even show a lot of the breakdance competition, but we obviously know that they got better breakdancers out there. We know that, you know what I mean? So I think as far as gatekeeping goes, I think we should hold our ground though. And we should say, nah, we can't let that be a one and done, because hip hop is arguably the most influential art form of human existence. Now I'm saying that as me personally. Those that would like to argue that, we can argue that in a scholastic school academy type of way. And I feel I could make the argument that hip hop is, the most influential art form that we have seen on this planet. So I don't think we should let it go. I think there should be better choices, and I think that the architects of the culture should be involved because they know who are the illest breakdancers, who male, female categories or however you want to do it. They know these people, right? So they can get these people to be. I don't know what the process is, how they got in there. But I think we should hold our ground on that because I do think it should be part of the Olympics. I just think the first time they did it, it was done wrong. You know what I mean? So
right. And I think there's a way to celebrate the culture without exploiting it, right? I was always told, all attention is not good attention, right? I think there was a purpose. It was a nefarious purpose of including breaking in the Olympic Games. Now, one could argue was to highlight and celebrate hip hop culture and what is done across the globe. And we shouldn't knock that. We should celebrate it. But I also think it was also to take elements of the culture away and then assign greatness to other people that didn't contribute to it, right? So, for example, Tariq Nasheed brought this up on his show last week. He bets that there's going to be a movie made about this Australian breakdancer, going to make her look like a hero. So it's peeling off. Okay. It's peeling off our connection to the culture, our credit, and is applying the credit elsewhere, which I think that is somewhat problematic. I think it's okay to celebrate the culture, right? Because you see breakdancing and hip hop culture, hip hop elements in Tokyo and in Asia, and also around the globe with this young lady in Australia. But I just think we got to be careful of having people take our culture, repackage it, and then make it, peel it off the other groups that didn't really create it. That's the dangerous part, I believe in it. And I don't think the Olympics did a good job. I don't think it was a good look. And I'm glad it won't be, I think it needs to be revisited if it's going to be included in 2032, 2036. We need to really take a look about how do we properly include the people and the pioneers that built breaking and contributed hip hop culture going forward, where it can be given its proper due. That's my 2 cents on it.
No, I agree with that. One thing that people may not agree with me on, right, is the expansion of the culture. So you talked about Tokyo, right? In Tokyo, they love hip hop. There's a rapper, A-Witch. She raps in Japanese. I don't know what she's saying, but I'm a fan. I just like her. I like her flow. And I don't know what she's saying. What I'm saying is, whether you go to Japan or Mexico or Canada or the UK, Europe, stuff like that, Africa, hip hop has expanded. I don't want to close the door on other people coming in because I feel that a lot of them do love the culture and they are not trying to vulture off it. I feel like a lot of people from other countries, they do respect this culture, and I don't want to close the door on them to it. But do we need to have the architects of, the people that were there in New York, in LA, the early breaking, should they be a part of the judging, part of who's picking what, part of what are the rules, right? Some of the rules were you can't do the same move twice. So that there were rules involved. But I do think as hip hop, we should, extend the open door policy to other people. Now that comes with a red flag. Me saying that comes with a red flag to a lot of people because they're going to be like, well, you're going to have people coming in, they exploit the culture. They're not really, they're more vultures. They're not really for it. But I do think that we can discern who's really about it and who's not, because these people have reputations, right? Like, if you get someone from another country, right? I deal with people from all around the world. Some of them have a history of putting out music as a hip hop artist. They've been breaking, they've been doing fashion or whatever. So they have a reputation. It's not something that they just stumbled upon or something that they're playing with. They have a reputation for really holding it down and being part of hip hop. So we should vet the right people and find the right breakdancers who who represent their country from abroad, and just get a dope competition. That's all. So my main point is I feel like there should be maybe some gatekeeping on our end, because I don't want to close the door to the rest of the world who wants to be involved. Because I do recognize it's a global thing now. Hip hop is global. Like,
right. And I don't want to close the door to the rest of the world, but I want to make sure the proper credit is attributed to the people that actually built hip hop, created hip hop, and we don't lose that. I think there's an undercurrent, there's a movement by others to take and give credit to different groups apart from us that created the culture. And I think we need to watch that, and we don't need to gatekeep, but we just need to keep a keen eye out for elements that are trying to take away the credit from people that actually built it. That's all I'm saying.
I'd agree. And there is good reason for that gatekeeping, or for watching who you let in. Later, we're going to talk about the movies, right? You got, and I'll just real quick, you got Denzel playing a Roman of a certain stature. Well, do black people know their role in Rome? Some people, there was a lot of backlash. They're like, there was no black people there. But if we look at the history of royalty, there was black royalty all throughout Europe. Do we know that? So what I say about gatekeeping is we want to be accurate. And with hip hop, we want to be accurate with the history later on when it comes out. And we want ourselves to be in our roles that we played, right? Black people have played a super significant role in hip hop. I almost feel weird saying that, because I think everybody knows that. But we do want to preserve the history, because later on down the line, you may have people that be like, oh no, there wasn't black people there. It's like, come on, man. You know what I'm saying? That's crazy, So yeah.
Hey, I'm gonna throw you a curveball. You ready?
Yep.
We didn't have this in our group chat. We didn't have this in our text. But Kodak Black and Fivio Foreign released a song featuring Trump over the weekend. Former President Trump over the weekend. The song is called, what is it called? It is called Onboarded. Kodak Black and Fivio Foreign, they used some of the former president's speeches in the actual song. On the art, they used some of the images of President Trump. What were your thoughts? Have you heard the record, first of all? And what are your thoughts about hip hop or certain artists in hip hop endorsing President Trump? There's other artists, Cardi B, supporting Vice President Harris. But what do you think particularly about Kodak Black and Fivio Foreign showing their support, dropping a record called Onboarded with featuring the 45th President of the United States?
I mean, you support who you support. So I never want to give my opinion to the point to where people feel like I'm trying to tell you to think like me. Like, no, like think like how you want to think, and whoever you support, I'm okay with whatever you choose, right? But I would say just go off your feeling. If you feel like Trump has your personal interests in mind when he makes decisions, well, then go off the feeling that you feel, right? If you feel otherwise, then you have that feeling. I would say there is a reputation on both sides. You can judge however you feel about that reputation, or I'm just saying, just I just want people to be active and actually making a decision, right? Because it's not just about one election. You're going to be involved in elections like for the rest of your life, as far as just like your thinking goes. So just like you're getting used to thinking out these things, going through policy, hearing what presidents have to say, you're getting used to that, because one day you will be the head of your own family, and your family will be asking you, like, what do you think? So you're going to have to make that decision. So that's all. I don't have a problem with whichever way a rapper wants to go. That's their personal decision, and it is what it is. You know what I mean?
Right. Well, hopefully we'll see. There may be more records to come. I saw some independent hip hop artists making a couple songs about Trump or whatnot. Actually, just to give a review of the record, I thought the record was pretty good. I thought Kodak came off with a dope verse, And Fivio came off with a dope verse. The record's not that bad. You know, I thought the record, they interspersed it with speeches from Trump. I thought it was an okay record. You know, I give it a B minus, a C. You know, it was an okay record. So
Right.
I don't know. Maybe they'll drop a whole soundtrack or mixtape, you know, as we get closer to November. But it's gonna be very interesting to say the least. So I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I mean, yeah, you know, it's up to the people. Like I said, you know, I can't say I'm the biggest fan, but it's up to you. Real quick though, Mad Max, you said Denzel looked goofy in that role. I thought Denzel was fine. You know, Denzel's a credible actor. He's one of my favorite actors, so I don't have a problem with it. But I do. This kind of connects with the Trump issue too. Because I'm talking about politics, right? If you go into Rome or whatever history, then you find your people. Now, what is their role in politics? That's what you should ask, because those same things are playing out today. Like, look at the Roman flag, look at the American flag. What's the difference? It's the same. It's a bird, right? But if you can't locate your people in history, then right now in America, do you know where we are? Like, I ask Black people, do you know why we're here, how we got here? What is our role in 2024? You got to do a little bit of back history so you could find your folks in the same situation and see what they did, what the right decisions they made, the wrong decisions they made. You know what I mean? So then you can have a better idea. So that's the only reason why I bring that up. You know, gatekeeping the culture, history, it plays out all the way up to today when we have President Trump, because we're still in a political climate, you know. So, you know, you got to know what you're dealing with. You got to know the powers that you're dealing with. A vote for a president is not always because I like this person. Like, I'm voting because I like this person. No, we don't know these people. We're voting because this is the person that we choose to do battle with strategically, politically. That's all. Like, do I do battle with this person or do I do battle with that person? It's still going to be a battle. You know what I'm saying? You're just picking who you would rather do, because you're looking at the people under them. Like, you're looking at under them who is pulling the levers of what power, right? So it's not just the main guy you're looking at. You're looking at all the way their chamber, their legislation, all the way down to a local level, and you're trying to move the chess pieces that way with your vote. That's all. You know what I mean? So, but you got to be smart. You got to be smart.
And Mad Max, we're gonna open up the phone lines in a bit, man, because I know you got a lot to talk about with Gladiator 2. I was surprised when Leroy hit me with the topic, and I was like, Gladiator 2, where is this going? I have no notes for it, but I'm a big fan of Gladiator 1, one of my favorite movies. I remember I was a young guy when that came out. I was in high school when that came out. But it's a dope movie. I'm looking forward to see Gladiator 2. I'm gonna pre-order me a ticket. If they got the tickets on pre-order tonight, I'm gonna buy the whole theater out. I'm gonna get the whole theater. Boom. I'll buy myself and watch it. You know what I'm saying? But music super chat. Jermaine Johnson with the super chat says it's hard to gatekeep break and we've abandoned it. That's a good point. I mean, when I'm in New York, I've been in New York recently. I kind of went into town and left. But you normally would see it on the subway. You go to Union Square, Union Station. Was it Union Square or Union Station? I think it's Union Station down. And you would see people, you know, breaking or whatnot. But it is a lost art. We don't see much of that anymore from our culture. You see it,
That's true.
elements of it in Asia, even in South America. This young lady was from Australia, or in Europe. You know, so you're right. Jermaine Johnson's right to it. We've abandoned it, and
okay,
yeah, but I think we should reclaim it. I think it's not too late to reclaim something that is yours. If we can reincorporate it, we need to kind of, you know, I think that's why films like Microphone Check are so important, where it can teach the history of hip hop and then really kind of teach it to another generation. And we can, because what goes around comes around. There's nothing new under the sun. So a lot of these cultural elements we'll see again. So there may be a wave in America where our people will start taking up breaking. I'm hopeful that will be the case. But yeah, in Union Square, 14th Street, Union Square. Yeah, I would see a lot of that. You know what I'm saying? It would be people on the train. I think that's the with just the N. I usually take the Q is the yellow line, the NQ of the R train. I would take that there, and because there's a spot in Union Square called called Coffee Shop. They closed it down about 4 or 5 years ago. That was my spot, man. Um, that was
Yeah,
my
I
spot.
don't think we should abandon it though, man. You know, I recognize what he's saying. I think with the success of the music business in hip hop, I think breakdancing got drowned out because what are labels investing into? They're investing into beats and rhymes. They're not investing into breaking. So I think as time went on, we kind of left that alone, right? Because we're thinking to ourselves like, where can I get the money at? Like, I'm here to get the bread, right? So, and if we don't see that in breakdancing, then we're gonna be like, nah, just the same thing with opening your own store, the marathon. If you don't see the bread in that, then you're gonna be like, nah, that ain't why would I do that? Because you don't see the bread, right? The money. But I think whatever came about to make breakdancing come out of the Bronx, New York City, graffiti, turntablism, emceeing. I don't want to abandon those things, and also the health benefit of breaking. Right, I think there's a lot of kids, and you could do this all throughout life, right? But there's a lot of kids that are they're suffering from obesity or just they're not. All of us can. It's a health thing, right? So I think that should be brought up too, as well as why breakdancing is important and should be a thing. And I just don't. I think it's a dope art form. I don't want to lose any part of the art form of hip hop. So if we got to reclaim it, let's reclaim it. You know what I mean? Because these things are profitable. Just because it hasn't been done yet doesn't mean it can't be done. Like,
Right. One element of hip hop that I struggle with
mm,
is graffiti. Like graffiti back in the day,
right.
it used to be artistic, right? It used to have some meaning, but now a lot of
Mm,
this new generation ain't really doing graffiti. They really defacing property for real. They putting like they scrolling gang signs. This ain't really graffiti. This is no art to it. This is not one of the elements. This is what the forefathers envisioned, and they drive they drive property value down. So I sound like an old man now. You know what I'm saying? Back in the day, when graffiti is so cool, and some of it was. You know what I'm saying? I think there's a space for that, but now, especially in Atlanta, since the pandemic, you drive downtown Atlanta, they got all this gang graffiti, and it's all messing up. It looks terrible.
I've seen
And
that.
it's just, I mean, even I was in Seattle, it
Mm.
looks crazy. In Los Angeles, that's just, it doesn't look good. I mean, this is like I don't know what it is. If
Yeah.
you one of them gang graffiti artists, don't come at me, man. You know what I'm saying? We need to get you up out of here, because it's making everybody's housing value go down. And nobody wants to see that, man. I want to take my kids, drive them downtown. They're like, what is this crazy looking sign? So we gotta get control of some of these elements, right? Because it's out of control. Because really, it's not really graffiti; it's really vandalism at this point. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
we got to tell the story what graffiti was. It was an art form. It was an element of hip hop. But what these new guys are doing, I don't know where they're coming from. I don't know where they're from. That's another story for another day. They're coming from other places and they're sprawling this, where they get some paint and they're just drawing these signs. That is not graffiti. That's not a core element of hip hop, and they need to stop, man. They need to stop.
I mean, we can move graffiti into the art space because it is art. When it's a wild style, that style of graffiti, that's art. We can move that into the art space where they will give you the walls that you can use. They will give you the tunnels that you can use, and we could demonstrate our art that way. Do I have a fully fleshed out plan to do that? No, but I do know that there are parts of the city where they say, hey, you want to draw a mural of Nipsey up here? Go ahead and do that. Or you want to draw in these tunnels and make it a gallery? Then go ahead and do that. Or you want to draw, like, there are spaces in cities where I'm sure it can be okay to paint or graffiti in certain spots. Now, obviously, if you're doing something of a gang culture or something like that, then that's going to work against what I'm talking about, right? For obvious reasons. But you know, graffiti is art, and it came off the street, but I think now it can move into a real art space and it'll be respected as a real art form. Like I do think that it can sell tickets. Like if we have a part of the city or a gallery or a place where specific artists come to graffiti, I think it could sell tickets to people to come out and they'll see that and maybe catch a performance or whatever at the end of the night. But I think there's money there to be made as well. You know?
Yo, shout out to Major Payne. He brought to my attention this movie called by Affian Crockett, a hip hop star. Have you seen this movie?
I have not. No, break it down.
Affian Crockett. We're gonna check it out. It's got Little Rel in it. Got Cedric the Entertainer in it. Who else? Damian. I think Damian Wayans Jr. is in it. Wayne Brady.
Oh, you know what? I did hear about that. Yeah. I know. I heard it's supposed to be pretty good, actually.
I'm gonna check it out. We're gonna check it out. We're gonna have a full review. It says the synopsis is this: a yoga practicing hip hop mogul, Roscoe Simons, is that supposed to be Russell Simmons?
Right? Yeah.
Confronted by a backpack rapper on the state of current hip hop. Discouraged, Roscoe joins forces with the rapper and a few of rap elite's icons to save the culture. Right. Starring Affian Crockett, Demaine Ratcliffe, Cedric the Entertainer, Little Rel Howery, Damian Dante Wayans, Wayne Brady. Is written by Affian Crockett, directed by Demaine Radcliffe. We're gonna check this joint out.
Yeah, it's supposed to be dope. Actually, I forgot about that movie. I was trying to watch it, but it just it slipped my mind, man. But it's supposed to be pretty good, though. Actually,
no doubt. So we talked about Nipsey. We talked about the Breakin situation, and we talked about the Donald Trump featured record with Fabio Foreign. Thank you, Mad Max, for correcting me. Fabio Foreign and my man Kodak Black. So hopefully there'll be more records to come in either direction, man. Because we want to hear some self-destruction records. We want to all in the same gang records. We want to hear some fight the power records. I think it's always good. The convergence of hip hop and politics is always there. But it's always good to hear it on a record, So I want to hear more records like that. I want to hear, even though it's some people say it's WWE, it's good to hear. It's good to hear the expression of what's going on in the culture, man. But anyway, you want to talk about 38 Spesh? What's your thoughts on the new 38 Spesh, Mom and Gun?
So 38 Spesh, I know y'all know. Everybody knows who 38 Spesh is, right? He was recently on the Math Office show, and I know y'all know. But he holds down to what I would like to call today. I'll call it the Benny Corner. No disrespect to 38 Spesh, but I think he kind of knows what I would mean by that. So Mother and Gun, right? That's the name of the project. I did enjoy it. If you are familiar with 38 Spesh, then you know his work with Benny on Stabbed and Shot. You know his mixtape Beyond Belief, Gunsmoke, 7 Shots, Special Machinery with Conway, Son of G-Rap with Cool G-Rap, 38 Strategies of Raw. And he represents Trust, which is his brand. Trust, I think that's a dope name because it's like trust this brand or build trust in the brand. So I rock with that, right? On the album song, I like Saturday Morning. I like Del Lago with Stove God, Had It Coming with Havoc and Lloyd Banks, Special Methods with Method Man, and 38 Spesh, the title track, what's named after him, with Benny and Shay Noir. Also, Only You. The premise behind, it's a dedication to the moms, you know what I mean? But with your mom, you got different kind of moms, depending on your mom, but all the moms support their children, or should, so a lot of us, we could look to our mom for support. But he's saying with Mother and Gun, the premise behind that is basically like, I rely on my mom and my gun, because he's talking about street stuff on the album. If you're familiar with 38 Spesh, it's that street content. That's why I call it Benny's Corner, because it's the same kind of, it's street content, right? So, excuse me. but that makes sense to me. You rely on your mom, you rely on your gun. You know, unfortunately, if you were going to play that lifestyle, you need to be armed and you know hold yourself down. So that's the premise of the record. I thought it was dope. He does a lot of his own production. He's a dope MC. Like just as far as just putting the bars together, you know, he's dope. He held his own with Meth on Special Methods. He held his own with Lloyd Banks, and you know I don't got to tell y'all he holds his own. I'm sure you already know that anyway. But that's the album I listened to the most this weekend. It's 38 Spesh. I want to give him his flowers because he's been out here for quite some time, and he does have a mogul mentality. Like he has a strategy for how he corners the market to go directly to his fan base to do what he got to do. We've been having a conversation in hip hop about adult contemporary rap, right? But there's a business model. Like I said, we're going to talk about business today. You know, there's a business model that you kind of need for that because it's not like you're going to be talking to the fans of Ice Spice. You know, you're going to be talking to the fans of Ice Spice mom or her age. You know, stuff like that. You know what I mean? So it goes into business. We talked about how Common's record wasn't selling a bunch of units. So this is why the business key is key if you're going to speak to a certain audience, right? And 38 Spesh, he does that flawlessly. He holds his brand down. Going back to Benny, I do think Benny can elevate from there. But if you don't want to elevate from there, you can build a healthy life just cornering that market and selling to your people, right? 38 Spesh, he's gonna make a ton. He said, you know, putting out projects is like buying real estate. So that lets you know what his projects are worth monetarily. When he drops a project, whether you know about it or not, he's comparing it to buying real estate. So if you are targeting your market correctly, feeding your base correctly, it could be like, you know, buying property every time you drop a project. So I enjoyed it. It's called Mother and Gun. Check it out, man. It's fire.
Yo, I enjoyed the project as well. Again, it's street rap. It's that vein of Griselda, Benny the Butcher, you know, Conway the Machine. It was dope. It was dope. He's talking about his reality of being, you know, in the streets.
Right.
His mother providing that support, Mother and Gun. I thought the album cover was dope. I thought it was I think it was I think his mother just transitioned, so it was a tribute to his mother, his support. And I was listening to the records, and I was like, well, he's talking about his mother being in the courtroom. We turned around, his mother was there, you know. Right. And I remember something my mother would tell me when I was young. She was like, boy, I don't visit nobody in jail. And that always stuck with me, right? To kind of keep me on the right path. Cause she was like, yo, I don't visit people in jail. So
yeah, no doubt.
Hearing his perspective, you know, 38 Spesh perspective of his mother, you know, I think one of the records he was like, he turned around, his first person he saw was his mom's. But a couple records were dope. The Method Man record. Method Man has been on a little tear lately, man. Because I think he was on the Rakim album, I believe, too. Was he on the Rakim album?
No, I don't think he was on the Rakim.
No, he was on a what record was he on? He was on,
but he had on a run.
Yeah, Method Man's been on a run. I think he might have been on the Rakim record. I think he was on the Rakim record.
Okay.
Because his verse on the Rakim album was dope, you know. And then he's got this one on here. And again, I enjoyed the record. I think it was really solid. I think the one with Havoc and Lloyd Banks was dope.
That was dope.
Shout out to 38 Spesh, man. If you like street rap, if you like, you know, reality rap, his reality, you would appreciate the album. That the production was solid. I think it's a very personal album. Mother and Gun, again, the album, we don't talk about album covers enough. The album cover was dope. It's I think it's a beautiful album cover. So shout out to my man 38 Spesh. You know, a lot of people don't give him his flowers, but I think he, in that street rap, you know, Rock Marciano, the Griselda Gang, you know, those guys like that, you know, they hold it down. They hold it on their own, man. CJ Kid with the super chat said, is there a reason why lately you guys and Mike are on all wait. is there a reason why lately you guys and Mike aren't all on one show and instead on separate shows? Well, yeah, there's a reason for that because, as I always said, again, I'm a co-founder of Coordinate Hip Hop. I'm a producer. I've always been a producer, even the show with Mike and Coop. I was a producer. Before
Mike,
Leo.
he's on deck. Like if y'all want him to pull up, he's on deck.
Yeah. So Mike, it's like we try to do different things. Like the weekend rhyme is something different. We're trying to experiment with the format of the show. You'll all see us together at one point. But we just try to give different shows different layers to breathe, right? And not try to step. There's gonna be more shows coming. There may be a show where it's just Leroy on the show. There could be a show with just me on the show. It could be a show where we have younger people that's like in their 20s or in their teens talking about the young energy of hip hop. So that's kind of the reason. So there's no reason. Everything is cool. We just try to make sure we allow others to breathe and kind of have people do their different things. But if you guys want to see us all together, then let us know. If you want to see new shows, again, we're going to have different shows about different things coming up, right? Even the show with me and Ron Vay, Around the Culture, that episode, we have like 2 episodes in the can. He's been working on a production in New York and also in Pennsylvania. He'll be coming back in the fold, so we're going to be dropping that podcast again soon. So we all have different things, so we all good. We all good.
No, I want to give Mike his, I'm not giving Mike anything. He was already here before me. But what I'm saying is, Mike has his opinion on the music and what he does. And I'm not trying to crowd that space. So, let him do his thing throughout the week. You know what I mean? Y'all know Mike, he going to give you, what he thinks about where the culture's at. And I'm a fan of that too. Like I'm listening, you know what I mean? And watching. So on the weekends, I'll be here. Sometimes we'll all pop up together, but it's nothing going on. I still talk to Mike behind the scenes, but I may rebuttal what Mike was saying about Busta Rhymes today. So you never know. And then I'm sure he'll get back at me tomorrow, or so, it's all good, man.
Yeah, and it's about chemistry, right? So Siobhan was on the show last week. We had Siobhan with me and Leroy about a month or so ago. So Siobhan was his debut on According Hip Hop was with us. A lot of people don't know that. People have such short memory. They think that he just popped up out of nowhere on Mic Check last week. Yeah, he was with us a couple weeks ago. We kind of broke him in, and we just try to test different things out. So I think the show, with Siobhan, we with Mike, I think is interesting because he's a little younger, and it's like an older guy and a younger guy, and it kind of makes for good TV. So I'm always thinking like a producer trying to see where things fit. I also think there could be a bigger show where it's me, Mike, maybe Ron Vay, Super Duper.
Yep.
Maybe we can get Esquire. We get like 6, 7 cats on. We do like a bigger. I don't want to use that. I don't want to say I was gonna say something, but I don't want to say it because I ain't trying to jack what they doing. Because I like what they're doing. Because I think it's good to have different voices speaking about different elements of hip hop. Everybody has their different strengths, but I think it would be good to have a collective of voices on one show,
no doubt,
every now and then. So
anyway, you're right. By the way, Method Man is on the 7th song on the Rakim album. So you were right. He was on.
And Servan's in the chat. What's up, brother? What's up, brother? You ain't here, but we're gonna open up these lines in a minute. You can drop in on us too, man. You and Super Duper. But let's get to this list, man, because we got a group chat going on. Servan brought it up to me the other day, saying that I think Complex is in the business of driving conversation.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? They're in the business. So they put out these lists. They come out every couple months. They get us to talk. They get clicks. And, I think Mike D had a problem with the list. This is the list of the top 50 rappers in Atlanta, from Atlanta.
Right.
I collectively didn't have a big problem with the list, all right? Let me say that from the jump. I would say a lot of people, Eminem, Jay-Z, if you talk to people in the industry, hip hop artists would say Andre 3000 is one of their favorite rappers of all time. So I understand why they have him at number 1, right? I understand. I get it. But to me, I would put So I get it. I would put T.I. number one. If it was my list, I would put T.I. number one. I would move Big Boy. I would move Big Boy at the 6th spot. I would move Thug down to 7. I would move 2 Chainz to 8.
Okay.
I would drop Ludacris down to like 10.
See, I rock with
because I would drop Ludacris down to 10 because only because I would keep him in the top 10 because of his impact. He was a superstar out of Atlanta. He can rap. He had a different type of energy, the way he attacked the rhymes in music, but it was kind of like comical rap, punchline rap. He could spit. Let's not pull, I'm not trying to pull his car. He can rap. But as far as like, when the last time we went back and revisited a Ludacris album? Like you just wanted to get up in the morning. Let me listen to some Luda this morning. And I'm asking the audience. Yeah, I'm being for real. Because I can say I'll pull up a T.I. album on my phone. Yeah. I might pull up some some LaFleur. I might play some Gucci. You know what I'm saying? I might play some Jeezy.
I don't rock with the Gucci.
I might pull some Thug out. I might pull some Future, Tip, Outkast of course, Goody Mob of course.
Right.
But I ain't really revisiting none of Ludacris's album. Maybe I'm crazy. You know what I'm saying? Maybe I'm wild. You know what I'm saying? But
Reversal? You don't rock with Ludaversal? Yeah, I think
I'm not rock with him. I don't rock with him. I'm just saying the albums didn't age well. The rhymes didn't age well. So I would move out of respect for what Luda did, being an international superstar, being a pop star. Here's one of the biggest artists of the 2000s from the city. I'll keep him in the top 10, but I gotta say, Chainz. If you're talking about music, Chainz, I gotta give Chainz that nod. I gotta give Thug that nod. I gotta move Big Boy. I gotta move Big Boy ahead of Ludacris. That's what I would do. What's your thoughts on this?
Now there are a few things. Now I don't know if we're talking about skill or if we're talking about just overall artistry, right? But even if I assume the latter, Luda's still a problem. To go back to Mike for 1 second, when he was talking about Busta Rhymes, he was comparing him to other artists that came out in '96. But I don't go to Tupac to hear what I get from Busta Rhymes, if that makes sense. So with Luda has a certain thing that he does. I don't go to T.I. to hear what Luda does. Or I don't go, you know what I mean? So that's one thing. As far as Outkast goes, I think it's safe to say that we're counting. I think in my mind, we look at Andre and Big Boy as Outkast, not two solo artists. Am I right in saying that for most people? Because I look at them as Outkast,
Yeah, you can, but Big Boy has a solo career to stand on.
Right. So he does
a solid solo career.
But that's my only gripe though, and it's like it's the same type of gripe that I would have with like a Snoop Dogg, right? I tell people all the time, Snoop has a solid discography, and he would be in the same place that he's at now, even if people didn't love him. He would still be at the same place because his music would carry him there regardless. So Big Boy, I understand that his music is there, right? But I think for most of it, when I think Big Boy, I think Outkast. When I think Andre 3K, I think Outkast. So I don't think it's a win or lose thing. If you're telling me, well, I can't count Andre 3K, Andre 3000 because he doesn't have a solo rap album, it's not like I could argue with you on that. But if Andre says, hey, you got to count my Outkast work because that's still work, I can't argue with that either because that is still work. Like, he has to get credit for those verses, whether we like it, don't like it, he got to get that credit. Even though he's standing next to Big Boy, but those are still his verses. So I still got Andre pretty high. I got him like after CeeLo. My list would go like T.I., CeeLo, Andre 3K, Luda, Big Boy, 2 Chainz, B.O.B., Sci-Hi, and then we would go from there. Killer Mike, Jermaine Dupri. I put Jermaine Dupri there. I know people feel like maybe he shouldn't be there. I feel like he should be there because he wrote a lot of hit songs, man. It's like Jermaine Dupri wrote a lot of hit songs.
We talking about rappers though. We ain't talking about writers. We talking about rapping.
Okay, all right, but I'm just saying he wrote a lot of stuff. But so the list is not too crazy. Future, I feel like, is and Gucci Man and Young Thug. They are a cultural stamp. So meaning to say that they have such cultural weight that we're gonna put them there, right? But to me personally, like I can't put them over a Ludacris who has the cultural weight and also the lyricism. I can't put them over a Big Boy or 2 Chainz who has the cultural weight but also the lyricism. You know, I'm a lyric guy, so I'm gonna put the lyricism. You know, I'm gonna give somebody the nod for the lyricism. But I'm not gonna hate if someone tells me, hey, I listen to Gucci Man and Jeezy more than I listen to Ludacris or Big Boy. I'm not gonna hate on them and tell them, well, you shouldn't do that. I understand the play. Killer Mike, I can't put Playboy Cardi over Killer Mike, nor Offset. And Offset, I think that gets me into the same territory of a group. I'm looking at Offset as a group member more so than I'm looking at him as a solo MC. So, and it's just because if you have such group material that's so impactful, it's kind of hard for me to look at you as a solo when I'm thinking of the group. You know, when I think of Offset, I think Migos. When I think Big Boy, I think Outkast. Their groups carry a lot of weight. It just is what it is.
Right. So let me remix the list. Hit the like button, hit subscribe. Make sure you show us love. Hit like and subscribe. I'm gonna say if I'm remixing the list, I'm gonna pull the list up while I remix it. Let me remix the list.
All right.
I'm gonna go T.I. number 1. I'm gonna go Andre 3000 number 2 because I get it, I understand it. Even though he has no solo albums,
right,
doesn't have any solo songs, he hasn't rapped a lot in the last decade, 15 years, maybe damn near 20 years. But I still, out of respect to what he's done in the game and the quality of verses he's had and delivered when he does rap, I got him at 2. I'm gonna go Gucci 3. I'm gonna go Future 4. Out of respect to what he's done as a solo artist and in the Outkast collective, I'm gonna go Big Boy 5, 6 Jeezy, 7 2 Chainz, 8 CeeLo, 9 Thugger, and 10 Luda. That's what I'm gonna go. That's what I'm gonna go with. That's what I'm gonna go with. So, like again, I don't have many problems with this list. I would move Gip. I think Gip should be higher. Be quite honest with you, I think Gip should be in the top 25. Also, I think you from a pure bar for bar perspective, I think you got to have Saha. You know, No Dope on Sundays was a dope record. I mean, if you listen to No Dope on Sundays, you got to move this brother in the top.
It's 48.
Yeah, you got to move. You got to move him. You got to move him in the top 30 at least.
The Throne. When you talk about Watch the Throne, guess who Kanye is? That's Saha the Prince's lyrics that he's saying.
So I don't have a big problem with it, but I have to move Saha Prince up. I've got to move Gip up. I think Gip is ranked too low. But I do appreciate them having Lotto at 25. I will say that. I do appreciate Lotto being 25. I think in time she'll be able to move up quite higher on that list, but I do appreciate Lotto being 25. I think she's got a lot of talent.
Okay.
I think she's got a great future
right
ahead of her. And I think she's gonna move up. She's gonna move up. So that's my prediction.
In ATL, I'm not from ATL. I'm from the outside of ATL looking in. So I'm listening for like lyrics, bars, stuff like that. The people on the inside of ATL, obviously, you know more about the cultural sound of what you're listening to than I would know. So I don't know how to weigh the two. Like in my mind, Ludacris would be of more impact than a Gucci man. But if we go in ATL, obviously that
Oh, no,
wouldn't
sir.
be
No, sir. No, sir. No, sir. No, sir. If we talking about Atlanta, like
globally. I'm not
globally, maybe so. You know, as a hip hop, MTV TRL 106 in Park,
right.
mainstream America, Luda was bigger. But when we talk about Atlanta, few movements were like the Migos. Few
Right.
movements were like
Now I was there for the Jeezy movement. I was there.
Gucci.
I was there. Yeah.
No movement was like Jeezy. Even with Tip, those movements were different. Those movements were, I can't even define them in words. You just had to be there to understand what you were hearing, what you were seeing. So Gucci, Jeezy, and Luda didn't really move it like that. I mean, we showed Luda love because he went to Georgia State. He was on Hot 107.9. It was Hot 97 back then. So he was a hometown person, and we seen him out and about. He was not hard to see, and we appreciated him, man. We were proud of him. But as far as that movement that kind of got the city kind of turned up, it was only a few, man, and it was only a few.
Now, my only pushback to that is, you know what I'm saying, and like not trying to be tough or nothing, right? But when we look at the Jeezy movement, right, I was there for that from a California state, but a lot of that crew used to be in and out of California all the time, so they started to become, like the guys that we would run into normally. Now, I looked at it as, okay, like a certain group of people know who these guys are. The other people don't know these guys. Like they'll walk right past you and you wouldn't know who they were. So I looked at Luda as everybody out here knows who Luda is. Does that make sense? Like Jeezy and his crew at that time, if you knew them, but not everybody knew them. But Luda, everybody knew who Luda was. You know what I mean?
Right. I always have. You're right, and I think you have a key point there. I pride myself on having vision and understanding talent before it happens. I lost a $500 bet with my daughter.
Okay.
She's in her senior year of college right now, but when she was in high school, I think she might have been a freshman or a sophomore.
Right.
She was telling me about Playboy Carti, and I knew about Playboy Carti. I knew some of his music, and I was like, by the time you graduate from college, I bet you $500. This guy's not gonna be around. This guy ain't gonna be, nobody gonna be out of here. Ain't nobody gonna be listening to Playboy Carti in 2024. And damn, was I wrong, man? Because I don't know what he got going on, but he's got a movement. He's got these kids locked in. So shout out to Playboy Carti. His music is kind of dark. It ain't for me, but back in the day when he was first coming out, I never thought that he would be where he is today, and I lost $500. I thought by the time she graduated from school, no one would be listening to his music, and I was wrong. So, shout out to Carti, man. I just didn't see it. I just didn't see it.
I mean, she's closer to that age though, so she's gonna beat you in that bet. You know what I mean? She's gonna beat you, man. Like, I don't know why you bet that. You know what I mean? But I see what you mean. Yeah, they're closer to. They know what's going on with the young folks. It's like the Lottos and all that. Like, I'm not following that. I'd have to ask my daughter for that. I don't know what that's about like that. But so it's just different perspectives. But I do see, I'm not gonna act like Jeezy wasn't a force to be reckoned with or Gucci wasn't a force to be reckoned with. Obviously, I saw them, I saw the impact of their music. So I'm not gonna act like they were just like nobody like that. They were doing their thing on a big level. It's just weighing a certain type of music. Like, again, T.I., Jeezy, and Gucci Mane make this type of music, and Luda, Jermaine Dupri, or something, they make this type of music, or B.O.B. So it's just weighing what is more impactful to you. You know what I mean?
Right. But you know what's interesting though, because I see Mad Max in the chat. He does have a small point. I know I saw firsthand in Atlanta, being in the South, how big that Jeezy, that 101, that Thug Motivation 101 movement was.
Right.
But I remember around that time, I went to New York, and I I went to go visit my guy in the Bronx, and he was like, it was like him and some other cats in there. It was like, I was like, man, y'all, I'm rocking that Jeezy. They was like, who? I was like, Jeezy. That's, I mean, who the hell is Jeezy? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So I was shocked because I just left, Atlanta. We turning up with Jeezy every day, every night, every minute, every second, every hour. And I'm in the Bronx and they don't even know who Jeezy is. It's like, Jeezy, who?
So yeah, so you get what I'm like trying to say. When I went to Atlanta, then I knew, I had heard the name Jeezy, but I'm not putting the face with the name. It's like I kind of now. Who did I? Someone asked, "What do you know about CTE West?" I got my information from the top of the top guy in that crew, the boss. That's who I got my information from. But I didn't. But when I went to ATL and I see the promo around, now I'm realizing how big the movement is, seeing it in Atlanta. You know what I mean? So, but I had to go there to see it. In the Bay Area, I didn't even know what Jeezy looked like, until I, caught some DVDs, and then I went to Atlanta and saw really how big the movement was. So in Atlanta, it's just like in the Bay here. If I tell you about E40 and you're from Florida, you're kind of like, oh, E40's cool. If you come to the Bay Area, now you recognize, why he's E40. But, you just got to be there to know,
No doubt. Well, it is the weekend rhyme, and I would be remiss if I didn't sneak in a Lotto segment in the show. Pardon me, Leroy. I've got to sneak a Lotto section in the show. This week, Lotto has said that her GOAT, she named herself the GOAT, and she said Little Kim was the GOAT. She got some pushback. People are saying, why didn't she list Nicki Minaj? But what say you? Is Little Kim the GOAT of female MCs?
That's a good question. That's a good question because I opened up the show by talking about MC Lyte. So I wasn't expecting to have in this conversation. You know what I mean? Because if I go back to MC Lyte, what y'all know about that? But I can't argue with her.
You got MC Lyte, you got Latifah, you got Lauren, you got Bahamadia, you got
right.
I'm trying to think. You got Kim, you got Foxy, you got Nikki. You got, I mean, who's the GOAT female MC? Everybody's got their opinion. Some people say Kim is the GOAT. Some people in this new generation say Nikki's the GOAT. Some would say MC Lyte. Some would say Queen Latifah. Some would say, who's the GOAT female MC? That's a good conversation to have.
Yeah. The reason why I would not argue with her is because Little Kim is a powerful pick. If you're telling me Little Kim is the female GOAT, I'm not gonna really argue that because Little Kim, she married the she was hard. She had the street aesthetic and she had the aggressiveness. She had the sex appeal and she could do that too. But she was really barring up. She's an MC and she had a lot of weight to carry because if you're going to carry the legacy of B.I.G., that's not an easy task. And she kept that going. So if you're going to tell me Little Kim, if Lotto feels like Little Kim, and I could see the similarities too between Lotto and a Little Kim, I'm not going to argue with that pick. I could see that. I also opened up the show talking about Lady London. Shout out, when I hear Lady London, I could hear Little Kim in Lady London. When I hear Lotto, I can hear Little Kim in Lotto. So I get it. I get it.
I'm gonna go for bar. I'm gonna go if I'm talking about straight rapping, I might have to go with like Queen Latifah was no slouch on the mic. Lauryn Hill ain't no slouch on the mic. But if you talk about the overall package, let's think about it. You got Quiet Storm remix. You got the Benjamins. I mean, Kim has some iconic joints. You know what I'm saying? Crush on You, No Time. This is a lot. Kim's got a lot. She's done a lot. A Light Is Up. She's got a lot of records that the Jump Off. She's got a lot of records. So if you want to talk about, just straight impact and longevity, you got to give it to Kim. But straight rhyming, Light was a beast. Queen Latifah was a beast. And then really Nicki's no slouch. I mean, Nicki don't, Nicki gets a lot of hate because she made a lot of pop records and she does a little crazy faces or whatever. But Nicki's not a slouch, man, when it comes to barring up. You know what I'm saying? So
Nicki came from that mixtape era. You can't come out of that mixtape era and not handle your business. She had to rap, to make it out of that mixtape era. She made it out. Like, so she's no slouch. You know what I mean? Nicki's no slouch. She's pop now, but that's not where she come from. She came from the mixtape era trying to prove herself. She did that. I think Latifah represents a certain thing in my mind. Like Light represents Light and Latifah, they represent like queens to me. And I'm not saying that the other ones aren't queens either. I'm just saying they represent a certain type of content in what Latifah would put out. And then Little Kim, she represents a certain content, but I'm not knocking the content because keep in mind, I bought these records and I'm a dude. Like if you have a man that, or at this stage when they were out, I was a young man or a teenager, and I'm going to buy a Little Kim record or a Foxy Brown record, that means they had to have been spitting, because I'm listening for just like bars. You're not just gonna get one past me. So if I'm buying their records, they must have been doing something right. So, I'm not mad at that pick, is basically what I'm saying.
No doubt. Jermaine Johnson with the super chat says, think about how many Kim verses and moments you can recite. Now compare that to how many Nicki verses we can recite. It's not close, respectfully. That's
yeah, but how old are we, Jermaine? How old are we? Like, by the time Nicki comes around, are we really listening to that? Because we're a little bit older when Nicki comes around. It had Nicki come around when we was teenagers, we probably would have listened.
But even if she did come around when we were teenagers, did she have the verses that we would recite? Like, would she have something like, are we gonna be like, are we gonna be reciting that? Are we gonna be,
Possibly. I can't put it up because I did hear the Pink Print album when it came out, only because obviously she named it Pink Print. Y'all know I'm a J head, so I'm thinking Blueprint. So I said I gotta listen to this to see if she got the soul samples. That's what I went in thinking, right? When I listened to the Pink Print, she did have some dope bars on there. Now, if you ask me to quote it now, 10 years later, I can't really quote the bars, but at the time of listening to it, I remember, yeah, she is kind of rapping. She's rapping on here. You know what I mean?
You want to rumble with the B, huh? Put a hex on your whole family. Come on, man. Let's be for real. I don't know. I don't know if Nicki got something like that. I want to call out a comment here. This is not a super chat, so I'm gonna open up the lines in a minute so we can kind of talk. So Leroy can talk about Snoop, talk about Busta, then we'll get into Gladiator. But I want to pull out a comment here. I think it's interesting. So Owen Snell, when we pull up the line, please call in. So you guys are sitting here on this podcast discussing irrelevant-ish. Like, this is exactly what the government elite 1% want us doing. All right. Well,
what do you want to talk about? I'll talk about.
What do you want to talk about, man? And this is a hip hop channel, and this is a hip hop entity. This is a hip hop platform. We have hip hop podcasts. You are chiming in. We appreciate you liking and subscribing to us, but no, the elite is not telling us to do this. They didn't come up with the topics. I'm not an operative, but again, when we talk about other things, they say, oh, this is according to politics. We don't want to talk about that. Make that another show. When we talk about films, y'all don't want us to talk about that. So we try to keep it to the music. Right. You don't want us to talk about that. So Owen Snell.
The elite told me to talk about 38 Spesh. They were like, the elite was like, make sure you bring up 38 Spesh. I was like, okay.
So Owen Snell, when we open up the lines, please, we'll allow you 5 minutes, sir, to call in and we can talk about what you want to talk about. So I'm about to drop the link in the chat. Hold on one second. And so Leroy, talk about Busta Rhymes. You want to talk about Busta Rhymes? What's your thoughts on that?
Well, we're not too far, but I opened the show talking about Nipsey and business, right? So I'm just gonna kind of segue that into Busta, what he does. I know there's some footage around with him. They're saying, oh, he's wearing a gown or something, and he's acting zesty now, this, that, and the third, right? Hey, whatever, if that's the way you feel, that's the way you feel, right? Just as far as what he's done, I'm a work guy. So when I talk about Busta, Snoop, I'm talking about the work they did. I'm not really, so when it comes to Busta, you have the performative aspects of it. You do have the clothes, right? He's dressing like a superhero. Now some say he's dressing crazy now. I get it. I understand. But even like Andre 3K, I understood what Andre was doing back then. Now people was like it looks super crazy, but I understood that he's dressing in a way that his music sounds. So I get it, So you have that aspect of it, but just musically wise, right? I think Busta is one of the greatest that we've had, because it's like how much work that has been done. Same as Snoop. And I'm showing up late. I wasn't into the first debut album like that. You know what I mean? I heard it and I was like, it's cool, but at this time, I'm listening to other albums, so I get the 96 argument. But if you look at When Disaster Strikes, ELE, The Imperial, the Flip Mode album, Anarchy, Genesis, It Ain't Safe, Big Bang, LEE2, Diligence, The Abstract and the Dragon. Those are 10 projects that I can tell you have a lot of bangers. So it's not too many rappers around. And with Snoop Dogg, I can name 20 albums that are full of bangers. That's not normal. That's not regular, y'all. And we can get into the singles like Woo-Ha, Put Your Hands Where My Eyes Could See, Dangerous, Turn It Up, One, Tear the Roof Off. These type of singles, Party Over Here, Give Me Some More, Get Out, Fire, Break Your Neck, As I Come Back. Like, it's not normal. Have y'all looked at Buster's feature list? You know how many records Buster has been a part of since Scenario? Since, like, bro, it's not normal. Since Flavor in Your Ear, like, Victory, Hit 'Em High. His feature list is absolutely ridiculous. Annie Up remix. It's like, that's not your normal artist. If you weigh Busta Rhymes' full work on a scale, he's gonna break the scale on a lot of people. Like, and I just want to put that into perspective. And yes, somebody said Busta's like a Luda. Yes, when I look at Busta, I look at him as someone who turns up the party. So like when people tell me, well, Busta can't mess with Prodigy, I never compared Busta and Prodigy because I go to Prodigy for a certain type of thing. I go to Busta for a certain type of thing. Like, so I don't compare. So I just wanted to just put my view of Busta Rhymes, and it can also work for Snoop. If I'm just weighing how much work they've put in, it's absolutely crazy to me. So,
no doubt, no doubt. I'm gonna touch on that in a second. Let me introduce Mad Max to the show. Mad Max, what's on your mind, brother?
what up?
Yo, what's good?
What's good, my guy? What's the problem, Mad Max? What's the problem?
Well, Ron, you're gonna have to lay off my son Luda, man. I'm not letting you do that, bro. I'm not
Come
letting you
on,
get
man.
that
Mad Max, man, for
Stop.
real. When the last
Stop.
time you listened to a Ludacris song, man?
I
Let's be
listened
for
to
real.
Ludacris song last month. I was listening
Last
to Stand
month.
Up. I
What?
was listening to Stand Up. Don't do that. Don't do my son like that, man.
When did you listen to it? Where were you at when you listened to his Luda record?
No, I was playing it on my phone. I like Luda.
Okay, last month.
Last month. I'm probably gonna listen to him again 2 months from now. Or around that time period. You gotta stop doing that with Luda, man. Luda was dope. He had a great voice. He has a great flow. You're not doing that, son.
Word of mouth, bro. Luda was fire as far as I'm concerned.
I get it, Luda, and I understand though, because Luda's more of a outside of his actual home. People are fans of him outside of Atlanta, so I get it. But you between you, Mike, a lot of you Atlanta cats, the way you get at Luda is like, yo, nah, we're not doing that. Luda was nasty. We not doing that.
Luda,
I ain't saying Luda wasn't nice on the mic. I'm just saying the music, similar to Busta Rhymes, didn't age in a great way. That's all I'm saying.
Well, they're fun. They're more fun rappers. It's funny to me because Snoop Dogg's a fun rapper. I would say a lot of his music, content wise, has not aged well either. But we like Snoop but we diss Busta. Now I diss Busta personally, but but Busta, Luda, the more,
Right.
I mean, Redman to a degree kind of gets this. Method Man also to a degree gets this, where they're the fun rapper, but
Right.
but the only fun rapper we is Snoop, and that's not fair.
I hear what you're saying though, but Snoop, I don't think a lot of people heard the content on his albums though, so they're thinking like Snoop doesn't have the content or he's just fun. Snoop got a lot of content, but you got to listen to the albums. If the last album you listened to was Doggy Style, well then you miss Algorithm, Back on Death Row, I Want to Thank You, Never Left, RNG, Blue Carpet, Ego Tripping, Last Meal. You miss those things. So it's like, yeah, you're going to be like, he ain't got content. Well, if you ain't listened to the albums, then no, you didn't hear that. The Hard Way, Deuces and Trays. Like Snoop got the content too. Now, Busta, he is fun, but Busta could bar up. And I think that's an element people overlook. Just like with Luda. Luda's fun, but Luda could bar up. Don't let the funny shit get things confused. Like Luda could bar up and Luda could get serious. He got serious records on the, tucked in the album. He got serious records. They're just, you got to get into the middle of the record. That's all. But the Atlanta guys, I'm not mad because they're from the inner perspective of Atlanta. But me personally, I thought Luda was crazy, a phenomenal rapper. Did I think he was like Nas? No. Did I think he was Jay? Hell nah. But just as far as just barring up and doing what he got to do and being funny, I put him on the same type of, or a little bit lower than a Redman. But I put them in the same type of arena. So that was dope to me. You know what I mean? But
yeah, I can't even say Snoop, Luda, and Busta are in the same category though, man. Because Snoop's music did age better, in my opinion. I still can go back and listen to Doggy Style. I can still listen to the Blue Carpet. I can still listen to.
You guys listen to D's Nuts? You listening to D's Nuts, Ron? Come on.
Right.
I mean, I come on, man. No, I rock with Snoop. I think Snoop is better than all these dudes. I'm not trying to make an argument like that Snoop isn't better than them, because I do believe Snoop is better than them. But it's, to me, my point is more so of we can't have stand-up comedy rappers, because that's basically what Luda, Busta, Redman to a degree.
Eminem?
No.
Right.
No. See, no. See,
he's
you lose me with Eminem, because Eminem doesn't have the voice. He doesn't have the flow, and he really isn't that funny. He's funny on some Jim Carrey stuff. Luda, Busta, Redman in particular, they're funny, like stand-up comic funny that we like. Cat Williams and Bernie Mac funny. They're that type of funny rhyme-wise. We're not gonna talk about Eminem. Eminem is Jim Carrey at best, and that's low-key violating Jim Carrey.
No doubt. Let me get to the super chat real quick. Jermaine Johnson with the super chat says, Busta has always dressed theatrical. Combine that with touring with Missy, I totally expect for his attire to be turned up to match his look and energy. Super Duper's in the building.
There you
Super
go.
Duper, sir. What's good, brother?
What's really good, fellas? What's happening?
Ain't nothing, man. What's on your mind tonight, man? We touched a lot of topics. We talked about Nipsey. We talked about this breaking at the Olympics. We talked about my girl. Shout out to Lotto. We talked about Little Kim a little bit, Nikki. We talked about a whole bunch of different things, man. So what's on your mind tonight, brother?
Hey, I mean, the first thing I'm gonna say is, as far as Busta go, I mean, Busta is just okay, man, and that's all right. Like, everybody don't have to be top 20, top. This is the same thing I was saying even with when we was talking about Killer Mike. I mean, you don't. There's other guys that are better than you, and there's guys that are middle of the pack, but they put out a decent discography of work, and the catalog is decent. It's not bad. But if we ranking rappers, wherever we ranking them, I wouldn't have Busta in the top 20 or top. I mean, I would maybe top 50.
Whoa. Busta. But when we talk about sound, when we talk about Dilla and Knots, you know who Knots is? Well, Let's go to some of them Knots beats. Let's go to some of them Dilla beats. You know, a lot of why Dilla became very popular was when he linked up with Busta Rhymes. Now, before Dilla heads get mad, I know he was popular before Busta Rhymes, but a lot of the video work is with him and Hype Williams. But let's talk about Knots and Dilla, and what Busta did between them two producers is outrageous.
And like I said, I mean, Busta is cool, man. It's fine. It's all right that he is a middle tier rapper. It's not like we don't have to try to overrate Busta Rhymes, man. Like, let's just keep it 100, man. Nobody really going back through the catalog that hard. Nobody really, like, you know, he's not one of those type of rappers, man. He's just not, and that's fine, man. He do his work. He got plenty work out. He very respected for his abilities, but we don't have to pretend that Busta Rhymes is a top 30 rapper, man. Like,
He's walking around.
I don't know. He might be top 30.
Put your hands on my eyes.
I don't know if I can name top 30.
Man. Busta, we gotta put we honor Busta. We respect Busta, what he did in the game. Leaders of the New School, Flip Mode Squad, his solo albums and whatnot. But let's keep it a buck. I'm with my guy Super Duper here, man. He ain't. If I can name 30, 40, maybe 45 MCs, I would.
You can't name 45 better than Busta Rhymes.
Do you guys mean do you mean that you can name lyrically better rappers, or do you mean all around better artists?
I'm just speaking all around, just all around. Period. Just all around discography, lyrically, whatever. Whatever category we want to do this, Busta is not a top 30 rapper.
Dragon. You could name 20.
I don't know about
in the Dungeon Dragon. Good luck. Good luck. I don't know who these 20 people are, but I mean, lyrically, yes, I can make an argument that lyrically, yes, but am I going to name 20 people that has better performance skills, that remain raw, everything remains raw, got better videos, got better features? Can I name 20 people with better albums than the overall discography of Busta Rhymes? Good. I'm going to have a hard time with that.
Can I give it
the top 30?
Can I give it a stab at it? Can I give it a stab?
Performers, they have to be better performers than Busta to go in front of Busta. And that's
I don't agree with that, but
I remember getting on Ryan when he was trying to say Fat Joe was a top 20. I mean, but honestly, I would say that I got Fat Joe.
Super dude, that's long.
I know, but listen.
Fat Joe is not better than Busta, Super dude. Don't even start.
I think that Fat Joe's CDs, I think his catalog is better than Busta. I enjoy Fat Joe's music more than I enjoy Busta Rhymes' music. Just on a discography wise.
Fat Joe couldn't even beat Ja Rule in the verses.
I mean, but Ja Rule, man, like we want to. Why we trying to Rudy Poo Ja Rule like he wasn't a mega star at the time, man? Ja Rule, I mean, it is what it is when it comes to Ja Rule, man. He had hits.
Peace to Ja Rule. Ja
Rule's not Busta
Rhymes. Busta Rhymes was out for what, like 15 years before Ja showed up. Or no, like 10 years. But I can't put Ja Rule over Busta Rhymes.
I did this in like 2 seconds while y'all was talking. I put together a little list of who I say is better than Busta Rhymes. Y'all ready?
Okay, let's hear it.
So y'all would agree Nas is better than Busta, right?
Yes,
okay.
Of course.
Yeah.
Y'all would agree Rakim is better than Busta, right?
Of course.
Okay.
Y'all would agree Scarface is better than Busta, right?
Better than
Busta.
Y'all would agree that Ice Cube is better than Busta, right?
Okay.
Yes, we can give you that.
Y'all would agree that Andre 3000 is better than Busta, right?
No.
Solo album.
I think Andre 3000 is disqualified from this conversation.
Okay,
but I would still say yes anyway. But he still should be disqualified from this.
He has more talent.
Let me continue because I got quite a people I think that's better.
Okay. Yeah, keep going.
Pac, you would say Pac, right?
Obviously.
Okay.
I would say Big, right? I would say Big, right?
Yeah, obviously Big is better.
I would say Jay, right?
But you're naming the obvious. You're naming the obvious.
I'm still going. Y'all would say LL, right?
Yes. Well, I would.
Y'all would say
of course,
right?
Okay. All right. That's cool.
Who's the last person you just said?
I say KRS-One.
Oh
Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
Y'all would say Big Daddy Kane, right?
Yes.
I won't
Of
argue,
course.
but when we're talking,
Of course, Leroy.
Busta been out here for 30 years and he's relevant. He has new albums.
I'm at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I'm at 8, folks. I'm
That's
at 8.
Yeah, BDK. Okay.
Y'all would say Ghostface, right?
Yes.
The
It's
whole Wu-Tang, except for You God, maybe.
very close. Ghost and Busta are neck and neck.
Y'all would
No,
say
I'm taking Ghost. I'm taking
you-
Ghost clearly over Busta.
Ladies and gentlemen of a court and a hip hop jury, you would say Common is better than Busta Rhymes, right?
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
You guys would say Black Thought was better than Busta Rhymes, right?
No, I would not.
Oh,
No.
We got a
I
question.
don't pump Black Thought.
We got a question. We got a question on Black Thought. You would say, will we say Slick Rick is better? Will we say Slick Rick is better than Busta?
That's
Yes.
debatable.
Not-
I'll let that one rock. That's
I'm saying yes. I'm saying yes.
Okay.
Will we say Snoop is better than Busta?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So
Yes.
you got like 10 people or 12 people.
No,
Well,
I'm at like 13.
you got like 12 people, but okay, 13.
Hey, Red Man. Let me help you out, Ron. Red Man.
Redman.
Yes.
Method Man.
Yes.
I think Red and Ghost are very close to Busta.
2G Rap.
That was my next one. Cool G Rap.
Yes.
Cool Rap, Busta Rhymes,
How
Love
about-
G
how
Rap.
about, ladies and gentlemen of the panel in the court and hip hop jury, would you say that
Impact.
Prodigy is better than
Yes.
Busta Rhymes?
Yes.
Of course.
Yes.
Slow Rap.
Would you say
It's below
Jadakiss? Will we say Jadakiss is better than Busta Rhymes?
Of course.
Of course.
Of course. I'm biased.
It is
Will we
solo
say-
discography. It's
Will we
better
say
than
Styles
Busta.
P is better than Jada?
Yes.
Busta Rhymes?
I love Styles, but that's a question mark. I can't even.
Your impact,
I'm saying yes.
I
your
can't go
impact
that far.
has to be stronger than his 30-year impact. That's the metric here. Like your like Rakim, Big Daddy Kane, Prodigy, their impact has to be stronger than 30 years of Busta Rhymes.
Their impact is stronger than 30 years of Busta Rhymes. Prodigy's Mobb Deep stuff is better. It's better than anything Busta did.
Busta's hot now. Like Busta's hot right now. Just
No,
as
not.
it was in 1992.
Hey, even I would say Lil Wayne, and I'm not even a big fan of Lil Wayne.
That was my next one. I got Lil Wayne. I got 50.
Of
50,
course.
yes. Lil
Okay.
Wayne, no.
Okay.
Lil Wayne's not
Lil-
better than Busta.
Yes, he is, man. Come on now.
Hell no.
T.I.
Hell no. T.I. was scared to get on a versus stage with Busta. If you shook to get in the versus
T.I.
stage, I'm not taking you over Busta Rhymes. No.
T.I. is better than Busta Rhymes too.
Hold on, so you're done now, Ron. You're
What
done.
songs from T.I. has lasted?
I can keep
Does
going.
T.I. even have a
I
Fun
can
for
say
Your Eyes
Big
Can
Pun.
See?
I can say Big Pun. I can say Kanye West.
Pun,
Big Pun is better than Busta Rhymes now?
Big
Even
Pun,
Bun,
one
Pun
album.
had one album.
One album is
I
better than Busta's whole.
I can say Kanye. I can say who else can I say?
Kanye over Busta's crazy. Stop it.
I can say Bun B, 8 Ball, MJG, Pimp C.
Juvenile.
I'll give you Pimp C,
Movie.
maybe.
Juvenile. I can say
Juvenile over Busta.
I think we need to go back and look at how many years Busta was hot. And like you're naming people like what has Redman done that Busta hasn't done? What has
Well, Redman, according to your age group, but
what has Ghost done that Busta hasn't done? What has Black Thought done that Busta hasn't done? Like Busta has the singles. If you want to talk singles, he did that. If you want to talk impact, he did that. If you want to talk platinum albums, he did that. If you want to, and a lot, he sold a lot more.
But Leroy, you're gassing it now.
He sold a lot more records than the guys you're comparing him to.
But Leroy,
Performance?
nobody talks about Busta Rhymes' albums.
But
I mean,
lot
we
more.
don't talk about his albums.
Sold a lot more than Prodigy. He sold a lot more than Prodigy. It's not all about sales, but what did Prodigy do that Busta didn't do?
Prodigy made Quiet Storm, Shook Ones,
Busta-
High.
this might be bad.
See,
Right.
so Busta has the singles. If you're gonna play, he has singles. Busta has singles.
This
And
might be
one thing,
mad. This might be mad disrespectful, man. I don't mean to be shout out to Busta Rhymes. So we want to make sure we want to get him on the platform. We appreciate what he's done in the game, and I'm not trying to be disrespectful. I'm just asking the people a question. I'm asking the panel a question.
And Redman made 3 classic albums.
Super duper, Mad Max, Leroy. I'm asking y'all.
Yeah.
Who's better, Drake or Busta?
Drake, man.
Two different things, though, man. They're two
No,
different.
man. It's just being fair to what's really going on, man. I mean, Drake.
That's close.
But
That's
I think
close.
And I'm not even a Drake
That's
fan.
debatable.
I'm not even a Drake fan.
I think Busta was dropping different flows over different type of beats when Drake was like 6 years old. So I don't think
we understand all of that, but
just because of the moments Busta Rhymes had, you probably still could edge him over Drake.
those are quite the moments. Like when
Busta Rhymes did have. I'm not gonna violate Busta. Busta had
the moments.
a lot of moments. I don't partake in a lot of his animated, lyrical Little John version of hip hop, but Busta has some like. I remember him going crazy on that Chris Brown song when I was a kid. I remember that was a big deal, and that's still a big deal. I remember the scenario, the look with your eyes can see. Like he had a lot of like. I just can't violate him.
Mad Max, let me ask you this: you got Busta over Cam?
Personally, no, but he technically yes.
Yeah, technically yes, but on a like discography wise, how you enjoying the music? I don't have Busta over Camera.
Right, but we're looking at Cam and Ghost and Busta in the same way. I look at Ghost because I'm using my personal opinion. I'm using Cam because I'm using my personal opinion, which is great. But that's the same way people look at Busta. His fans are looking at their
I think the better way to look. Sorry, Leroy. Sorry to cut you off, Leroy. Sorry to cut you off, Leroy. I think the better way to look at it is: can Cam get on a versus stage with his material versus whatever material Busta can bring and beat Busta on a versus stage? I don't think that's gonna happen. So Cam is not over Busta. I like Cam more than Busta, but Cam can't beat him in a versus.
Only 2 people are standing next to Busta on stage.
I don't know, man. I agree though. I can agree with that. Busta got the bigger hits than Cam, like overall. But
Snoop,
not
it's a wrap. If you got Jay or Snoop, it's a wrap. Maybe Wayne, but other than that, or Kanye. But you'd have to be a mega star to go up against Busta on a stage because he is going to destroy you.
Yeah, Busta is one of those guys that he has certain type of hits that if you're not careful, he will wax you the hell up out of here. So that's why it's like he's almost like he's like a comical Jadakiss. He's an animated Jadakiss. If you're not careful, Jada gonna bring some songs that if you're not careful, you're gonna end up like Cam and Dipset and Fabulous on a tee.
all right.
Bad. And he's gonna do you bad.
Since we doing that, then do you think that Busta can beat Luda in the verses?
I prefer Luda to Busta personally.
I think Luda will win.
The only person in the world I ever heard that, man. You are a special person, man. You're a special guy, man. That's why we like you to have you on the show. You support us, man. But you're a special guy, man.
I agree with that, though. I prefer Luda over Busta, too.
I prefer Luda to Busta because I think Luda's voice is better. Because the flow is about equal. Lyrically, Busta might be a better lyricist, but I don't know. Luda is Ron. I don't know. Luda reminds me of a Midwest dude with a slight Atlanta accent, but because he's from the Midwest and Midwest people and the way they speak is closer to East Coast people and how we speak, they're slower how they talk than the East Coast people. But I don't know. I just understood Ludacris a lot more than any other Southern rapper.
If we doing the verses, y'all, Busta will wash Luda, man. Let's keep it a buck, man.
No,
you know what? He might watch Luda.
I don't think so.
Luda got some joints. I don't think it's gonna be. He ain't gonna do him like.
It wouldn't even be close. It'll be really embarrassing, man. It'll be really embarrassing.
I don't know about embarrassing.
It'll be close.
Stop doing Ludacris like that, man. What's wrong with you?
I don't think so either, man. And even with that, all that being said, is Luda top 30?
Hell
Luda's
no.
top 40. Top 40. I put Luda definitely in the top 50. I'm not gonna
Come on, man.
Yeah, I would say Luda's top 50 or so. But
Ludacris is not better than the 2 Chainz, y'all. Let's be for
Yes,
real,
he
man.
is. Stop it.
He came before 2 Chainz though. 2 Chainz is a product of Luda. When 2 Chainz came out, every other bar was a punchline. You don't think Luda had something to do with that? Like,
and we can't downplay how big Luda was. I mean, if you look at that, like Luda probably still in the top 10 for rappers and hip hop albums sold. Like,
as far as punchers go, Luda is one of the best punchers. Just like Big L's one of the best punchers. And I don't mean punching in to finish your song. I mean punch lines. Big L, Jada, but Luda is one of the best punchers we have seen in this era or the last era.
Luda got sold more albums than T.I. and got more hits than T.I. as well, too. So
Luda would smoke T.I. in the verses too. You put them on stage.
Stop it, man.
He was
Stop it.
Rod, I'm gonna tell you the truth because I love you. I'm gonna tell you the truth because I love you. T.I.'s catalog, and I like some of it. I'm not gonna hate on him. T.I.'s catalog, but you know if T.I. were to get on a verses with some of these dudes that we're naming, right? He has to play certain records because he made certain records to pop. You know, you can't play You Can Have Whatever You Like and win around.
He's gonna play Down with the King. He's gonna play Jackin' for Beats. He's gonna play Crown Me. He's gonna play some things on them drama mixtapes you ain't never heard of, brother. I'm telling you.
T.I. is dangerous. T.I. is dangerous.
T.I. has some decent. Other than 24, like I'm just saying, T.I. But if he's battling a certain type of dude, he might play those songs if he's playing battling somebody lower notoriety. He wasn't gonna play those songs if he's battling 50 or Busta Rhymes or Ludacris.
I think 50 Cent has major big songs, but I think in the long run, if we're going, we're going 20 songs, 25 songs, or maybe 30 songs. I think T.I. even get 50 Cent.
I mean, you wrong.
Yeah, 50 will smoke T.I.
Like 50 will beat T.I. with the show theme song music.
Okay.
50 got so many. People don't understand. When you talk about 50, you talking about what is T.I. gonna play when 50 comes out there with Hate It or Love It? He might make a fake truce with the game just to bring him out there just to shit on T.I.
Hate It or Love It on the guns on top. Not pushing that. T.I. still got trap music. He still got King. He still got Urban Legend. He still got.
How many of those songs have aged?
You know me
really well though.
You don't know me, like bro. When T.I. really gets in the bag, it's gonna be a problem.
Bring him out. You gotta bring him out. You know, you got Rubber Band Man.
Rubber Band Man is not beating anything, no, Rod. You know it.
50 Cent.
I'm gonna come back to that super duper. Jermaine Johnson with the super chat says, "There's no way that Rakim, Kane, or G-Rap are better than Busta. They don't have the more impactful moments, features, or stage performances as Busta."
Jermaine need to go to bed.
That's crazy. That's
insane. Yeah, you need to go to bed, man.
I love them.
Don't lay down, man.
I understand Kane and G-Rap, but Rakim doesn't have the moments. That's crazy.
I love them. But Rakim, Kane, and Kool G-Rap, they were super hot in the late 80s. When it came down to the late 90s, were they still that hot? I don't know. And Busta been hot since the early 90s up until yesterday.
Busta has not been hot up until yesterday, Leroy. He dropped the album this year, and it went triple wood.
The ELE 2 in 2020, I think that's the classic album.
I like that album too. I actually like that album. I did like that album. I think it's better than a lot of his albums, though.
Classic album.
The problem with Busta Rhymes, and he has a Jadakiss problem. Yeah, they have a great longevity, but you know, I mean, they come in like waves. Like it's like, you know, they'll come with a feature here, have a year here, have a year there, and they're still able to do that for a long period of time. But when you're talking about Rakim, I mean, specifically Rakim,
I know.
From what I understand, from what old heads in the barbershop were talking about Rakim, he had like 5, 6, 7 year run as the man that other black men were calling the God. When other black men is calling you the God, you're different. Busta Rhymes is not that. Like we can't just do that. That's like Charles Barkley calling him Michael Jordan Black Jesus. It's like
no, it's not. No, it's not. Mad Max. Peace to the gods. We know why they're calling him the God, and it's to pay tribute to the gods and the earth. We understand that. Now we know it's strictly to him. We know there's an element specifically to him. But how many rappers were outside in the 80s? And I'm not taking nothing. I love Rakim, and I may get a phone call about speaking on Rakim. That's how close. I don't know Rakim, but that's how close the connectivity is. When Rakim was outside in the late 80s, it's not a bunch of rappers outside. So yes, he made super impact, but how many rappers are outside when he made that impact? I was still playing Nintendo games. Like I was still arguing over Nintendo games when he was outside.
Yeah, but Leroy, it doesn't change the fact that Rakim had like a 7-year run consecutive, or at least a 5-year run consecutive as a top 5 undisputed. I'm one of the ones in the genre.
There was like 10 rappers when he was top 5.
There was more than 10 rappers. You're exaggerating.
We do gotta give like the guys that was in the early 80s and early 90s. We gotta give them a little bit of a pass as far as like how we look at the longevity that they had. Like I would equate like their 4 years to like
that's like 12 years.
Yeah, it's like 12 years, and like it's almost like dog years. You know what I'm saying? It's like you got to give them they 4-year run. You got to extend that to at least 10, just because of how the music lasted and how how they stayed still in rotation. Like still up until 95, 96, Big Daddy Kane was still in rotation. You know what I'm saying? You still would hear his music. You still would hear some of that mixed in with the Nas's, the Wu-Tangs, so their 4 years back then is equal to 10 years, 12 years now.
Yo, let me get the super chat real quick. Jermaine Johnson says, what has Rakim done in the past 35 years? Well, he had the 18th letter, just dropped an album a couple weeks ago, and then he had that joint When I Be on the Mic, classic record with Primo. Jermaine Johnson. Go ahead.
I mean, I was arguing when the 18th letter came out. I was a J head back then and a Nas head, and I was straight up telling people, I was saying, look, Nas is better than Rakim. People were telling me I was crazy, but that's how I honestly felt. I said Jay was better than Rakim. Now, of course, my OGs was like, you are out of your damn mind. But I'm just saying I was already making that parallel in the 90s.
And he says Busta is the unofficial 5th member of A Tribe Called Quest. Rakim's done, Rakim, like I said, the 18th letter was a solid joint. And then When I Be on the Mic with Primo, I forgot the name of the album that was on, but that's one of Primo's strongest records in the last 25 years. I mean, if you made a Primo list, a top 10 Primo list, When I Be on the Mic would be on it.
He had a classic quotable on that, Ron.
The G
Jack style, baby, extra wood. I love that.
Right. You know
one thing we can never take from Rakim, G-Rap, Big Daddy Kane, Slick Rick, is that they taught these niggas how to really rap and how to catch the flow. That's their legacy. Without them, they'll still be rapping like Run DMC. You know what I'm saying? They taught these niggas how to really rhyme, and they got the game to where it is basically now. So that's something that we can never downplay, that impact of, like, when we say under their impact, that is their impact.
Right. But then what do you want me to do when a Nas shows up, though? Do you want me to say, well, I still can't put Nas ahead of Rakim? Because Nas did take from Rakim, but he also added his own flavor.
But Nas had like a 7-8 year prime where he was like viewed as the best lyricist,
right
next to Rakim. It's not like Busta Rhymes never had that. You never looked at Busta Rhymes that was for 7-8 years in a row. He was that guy. Jay-Z, you looked at Jay-Z like that. You looked at Nas like that. Biggie could have became that, but you didn't look at Busta Rhymes like that.
I'm not saying was that, but I'm not saying Busta was. I'm not saying that Busta is comparable to Nas and Jay-Z. That's not what I'm saying. But what I am saying is between When Disaster Strikes and Genesis, Busta is a hell of a force to be reckoned with. He's a hell of a force to be reckoned with.
And that's exactly what I'm saying. Like we can't downplay what Busta did, but it just is what it is. You know what I'm saying? Like even when we had these arguments, right? You hear the typical names.
Right.
That's in people's top 10. I've never heard anybody ever put Busta in their top 10. But I have heard people put like a Redman in their top 10. You hear Prodigy. You hear these other names. You hear Jadakiss. You hear guys. I've never ever once heard anybody ever put Busta in the top 10.
But you said Redman. So if you can understand the logic behind a Redman, then you should be able to understand the logic behind a Busta. Because if we line up Redman's best stuff up against Busta's best stuff, you could see how there is a sound parallel as far as getting the crowd hype. There is a parallel.
Yeah, but Redman is another guy that at his peak, he like for 5, 6, 7 straight years, he was viewed as top 5, dead or alive. Like that's the problem when you talking about Busta. It's like he never had a run. Redman, from what I'm told, like there's dudes, I've heard dudes say this, like Redman was the best rapper of the entire 90s. Like they don't talk about Busta like that. Like they just don't.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He never get mentioned in these conversations like that.
I hear you, but I can make any art. You can get me any MC that's not named Nas and Jay, and I could put up When Disaster Strikes, ELE, The Imperial, Anarchy, and Genesis. That's a 5-year run. I could go 6 with It Ain't Safe, because with that song with Mariah Carey, he killed shit. But that's a 5-year run. I could put 5 years against anybody.
It's a 5-year run of being. It's a 5-year run of being middle of the pack, though. You know what I'm saying? It's like he's just the guy.
So that's the same as Redman.
Because people look at There's a Dark Side, Muddy Waters as classics. Like there's people. I look
at When Disaster
name those albums as classics.
I look at When Disaster Strikes as a classic album. I look at ELE as a classic album. Sorry. I mean, Busta is known for getting the party hype, right? So in that regard, I think he did that effort. I think he did that flawlessly. Just like Redman is known for getting the party hype. I think Redman did that flawlessly.
I mean, like I said, I don't like to. I don't want to disrespect Busta, even though I'm not a real big fan of his music. I don't even really like Busta as a character and a person, honestly. I think he phony, like really phony, but that's just me. You know what I'm saying? So I can't listen to Busta Rhymes like that and take him seriously. But I feel the same way about Ludacris, really. Like I don't really listen to Ludacris and take him seriously, even though, you know, some of the music is nice. It's just levels to this for me. And a guy like Busta is just the middle of the pack. Like the game need him. The game needed him at the time. It was a nice to add nice variety, but no, man, Busta's not top 30, man. He's not top 30.
I don't look at Black Eyed Peas as serious as Mobb Deep. But when we talk about the greatest groups as far as rocking a party, and I put Black Eyed Peas in there, they did rock the party, and they're not serious as Mobb Deep. But I
wasn't at them parties. I wasn't at them parties where the Black Eyed Peas was rocking the party.
But Missy rocks the party too. And I may have not have been in Missy parties, but Missy rocks the party. And that's what Busta Rhymes does. I put Missy in the same category as Luda and Busta. So Missy's not as serious as Prodigy. So people would say, well, Prodigy is better. But does Prodigy turn up what Missy does is turn up parties. That's what she does. Does Prodigy do that like Missy? I don't think so.
No, but Prodigy again also had like 5 years where you could argue he was top 5 dead or alive.
He wasn't trying to be the greatest MC, and I don't think Busta's trying to be the greatest MC either, though.
But you can't. But if they're not trying to be the greatest MC, and I'm okay with that, I would still rank Busta in my 30. I wouldn't go as far as say he's not top 30.
You know what?
They're not rapping to be the greatest MC. How are you ranking them top 10 top 15 on greatest MC list. Like it doesn't make sense.
You know what we need to do? We did it with Nas, we did it with Jay, we did it with Eminem, we did it with Common. We need to do an episode where we just go through the discography of Busta Rhymes track for track. We say yay.
That's a lot of fire.
We say nay. And we say and then we just call it what it is and we give it a rating. And we do a thorough examination of Busta Rhymes catalog. We'll do that, man. We'll do that before.
But I don't think that's fair, Ron. Because Busta doesn't have a catalog, a solo catalog. He's more of a. I look at Busta as a complimentary MC. He's a Scottie Pippen to a. You put a Michael. That's not necessarily a Michael Jordan has to be there, but he complements records. He doesn't. He's not the center of the record. He could be. He has his moments where he is, but can you complement so many records that you work your way into the greats argument? And I think Busta probably has 100 features that are just that are crazy. Nobody's walking around with that. Like Leroy, I agree with that because there's people who will tell you Scottie Pippen is a top 5 small forward ever. He was never the best player on any of his teams.
No,
but at least Scottie Pippen is decorated. I mean, he's a champion for one, even regardless of how he got him. But he was one of the best defenders in the league. He was a multi-all-star. Busta don't have this he doesn't have that under his belt to even be comparing him to even a Scottie Pippen. Now, if we're gonna use basketball terminology to talk about a rapper, Busta Rhymes is more like Rasheed Wallace. Rasheed Wallace. I don't even think that he's even as
decorated too. I mean, he is decorated. I hear what you're saying.
I hear you, but even his high points are very high, bro. Like, Put Your Hands Where My Eyes Could See is a very high moment. That song with Janet Jackson or whatever, or that's a very high moment. Him linking up with Dr. Dre, Break Your Neck, him making the Flip Mode Squad, like these are very high moments. Like him, Jay, and DMX on Anarchy, and on the heist with Ghostface, and these aren't regular moments. These are some ridiculously high moments. You know what I mean?
We're gonna put a pin in this. We're gonna have to do a whole show about Busta. There's some points in the chat.
It's gonna do it tomorrow.
As Magnum says, I never met a female Busta Rhymes fan. That's a good point. But before we go, I want to kind of talk about another segment. We want to get to the movies a little bit. I know Leroy, I'm a little afraid where this conversation is going to go. I know Mad Max had some ideas.
No fear.
Gladiator 2. What was your thoughts on Gladiator 2?
Mad Max has some thoughts. Let me hear what Mad Max, because he was, go ahead, Matt.
Look, I understand that in that time period, there were blacks who were ruling Europe, especially after Julius Caesar was, betrayed and assassinated. And so I'm not mad on that aspect of Denzel being there. It's just that the way it just comes across, like they're trying to hip hop Gladiator. And I love hip hop, but that does not belong in Gladiator.
But bro, we were there. Like black people were actually there.
But like, black people doesn't mean you get to put hip hop elements. You could there was a black person in the original Gladiator movie. You could have, but the original Gladiator movie is a classic.
Do you know who the original? Do you know why in every scene of Gladiator 1 there's a black man standing next to Maximus? Do you know the message they're sending you?
Yeah, because they're telling you that the gladiators were really black men, and that is why they have him as that black man there guiding Maximus.
Yes,
Maximus is probably a black man himself, but we know they're doing typification. I understand all that, but when you look at the trailer for Gladiator 2, the song that they picked, it's just like, I can't take it serious. I'm sorry.
The song picked was from Watch the Throne, and it's the first song, No Church in the Wild, where Jay is literally talking about the Colosseum.
But it doesn't matter what Jay is talking about on the Colosseum. I hear the Watch the Throne beat. That does not sound like Gladiator music. Like it does not, like when you listen to when you watch the first Gladiator, listen to that soundtrack, listen to how it was put together. You're not gonna tell me you want to hear "Watch the Throne," even if Jay is talking that stuff. I don't care what he's talking about.
But what is
already you're messing up the vibe.
What is Gladiator music? Are we talking about classical music? Because that's black music. Black people created classical music.
Well, yeah, I kind of as a fan of
Rome, it was black people playing the instruments outside of the Coliseum, not outside the Coliseum, but in the inner ring of the Coliseum. It was black people playing the music.
It's not about black or nothing like that.
The royalty of Rome and the politicians of Rome, a lot of them were black. There were a lot of white folks. I'm not going to say it wasn't. It was white folks there.
But Leroy, you trying to make it a race thing. What I'm saying is, I don't want the hip hop thing in Gladiator. Even if there were black people making classical music,
I got you.
I'm fine with that.
I got you.
But I'm fine with you finding black people who can make classical music. But to watch the throne, come on, man, you making it a joke. Gladiator, the first Gladiator was too classic for this. The way it don't even seem serious. I can't.
I'm not mad at that argument. I just don't want to lose the fact because people are upset because they're literally like, hold on, there were no black people at that time. And I'm like, really? Like they're literally making the argument. It wasn't no black people in Europe. Wasn't no black people in Rome. I'm like, really? Like Carthage, even a lot of the Phoenicians, but it's like, I'm just making the point that we were there. That's all I'm saying.
Leroy, and to boast of your point, for people who don't know, black people at one point ran all of Europe. They were the blood of all of Europe. Even when you talk about when they call it the Dark Ages, they call it the Dark Ages because the rulers of Europe were all, for the most part, black. Also, the bubonic plague is called the bubonic plague because it was a disease that killed mostly black people. It's the same disease that when the Europeans eventually came to America, some mostly being Caucasians and a little bit of also black people, they were wiping out the Native Americans who were also black because of that disease. That's what happened. So those who don't know, yes, black people like Mark Antony was black, King James was black, Queen Elizabeth was black. They called her a brunette. What a lot of people don't know is that they changed the meaning of brunette. Brunette used to mean skin complexion. They changed it to hair color. That's what
so they were there.
And stuff like that. It's been around.
They were there.
And even Paul from the Bible was a Roman soldier as well. So I mean, we was there. We was definitely there throughout the whole time. And
as long as we know that we was there. Now, as far as the plague goes, I may have some discrepancy there. I think the Moors were coming in trying to fix that situation, but we both agree that we was there. Now, is it a huge, big topic? If you want it to be, but I think that we got to know where we were at. Like, not all the black people, but we got to know, like, okay, we were there, we were here. So as long as we know our place, like they try to exclude us, they gatekeep us out of the history of Europe. Like, so it's like when people are upset when Denzel Washington of all people, I'm like, hold on, like he's the one black guy in the movie, but we were there. Like, that's all I'm saying.
I love Denzel. I think Denzel is the greatest actor I've ever seen on film. I found out he was born in Mount Vernon, so I'm biased even on that. But I don't know. I when he was smiling in the movie, I just couldn't take it serious. And it's not even about a black thing. It's just more of I don't like how I feel like it's gonna go.
Got you. I hear you.
It's one of those.
It'd be corny. Like they may make it corny.
Yeah, I don't want to come in. I don't want to come into America too. I don't want that. You know what I mean? You get me? I don't like when they take classics, wait like 30 years, and they try to remake the classic because their creative juices is so shot, it's so whack. They're not able to create anything, so they want to go reheat old stuff from back in the day, ruin old characters, ruin old plots, and just do whatever they want to do because they know it has a fan base that's gonna rock with it because it's such a classic film. You've seen them do it with Star Wars. They did it with Coming Home to America. They do this a lot where they just take old stuff. I mean, they did it with Ghostbusters. Come on, man. You
A
gotta stop.
100 years from now, when they make the story of hip hop and they put Eminem at the top, somebody's gonna have to say, "Hey, we was there." So I'm just saying that right now, like we was there. I think the movie's gonna be dope. He did make a mistake with the Exodus movie. You know, he put just a bunch of white folks playing Africans. I think there's an issue with that. I think it got back to him. Like, hold on, you got Europeans playing Africans. So I think he was like, let me put Denzel in here to try to balance the scale. But I just want people to know that we have been everywhere, all throughout history. You can find us. So that's all.
I mean, can we just keep it real too?
Yeah.
I mean,
Yep.
movies are trash now anyway. They don't like they don't even know how to make good movies no more, man. I can't even remember the last good movie that I actually seen. It's been a long time since I actually seen a movie that I thought was actually like a good film. It's been a very long time.
Because
Like
they keep trying to force stuff. It's always and you know, especially like because I watch more of the black oriented films than regular films. But
Right.
every time I'm watching a film, it's like you're trying to force this, you know, black people should be scared of the cop, unarmed black man. You're trying to force this racism angle. You're trying to force this woman over the man. It's just a lot of like stuff that they do. It's just like, all right. Even in the Marvel films, if you really watch the Marvel films, all the men, you know, at times outside of Tony Stark were idiots, and then
Right.
all the women were like super wise. It's like it's not even balanced. Like that Black Panther 2 movie was super trash. It was super trash. Like I don't understand how they get away with this type of stuff.
I
It's like
think part three, though, I think the next one would be fire. I think with part two, they had to go that route. Well, they didn't have to do anything, but it's like it's kind of hard to go a different route because the comic book itself goes in the route that the movie went. So I think they
they
just
could have
followed
just replaced the
the
actor.
comic
I
book.
mean, Chadwick was cool, but I mean, he wasn't irreplaceable for T'Challa. I mean,
That's gonna be
they acting
hard.
like they acting
That's gonna
like I understand Iron Man and Chris Evans for Captain America, Hugh Jackman for Wolverine, but Chadwick wasn't in that role for a long enough time, and he didn't do that crazy of a fire job for it to be like you cannot replace him. I
I
mean,
don't
get
know,
out of
man.
here.
That's kind of hard to replace Chadwick, boy, at the Black Panther. That's a tall order, my G. That's a tall order.
I mean, you could replace Chadwick though. I mean,
You know, I don't know. I'm asking you, like they're asking who do we replace Blade with? Because you know they want to make Blade, the new Blade movie, but how do you replace Wesley Snipes? Like how?
you find a younger actor that's dope. I mean, it's
Okay,
not impossible.
I mean, but why replace Wesley Snipes as Blade anyway? Wesley's still out here. Like Wesley can still be Blade.
I
I mean,
mean, I mean,
that's
I mean,
the
if you going that route, but I'm specifically talking about Chadwick. He died, so there's
right.
no excuse for them not to replace him. I mean, that's
No,
ridiculous.
no, they didn't. They could have replaced him. It would have been no problem.
So my man Denzel in Gladiator 2 is playing a character called Macrinus. He's a power broker and former slave who plots to control Rome. He keeps a stable of gladiators and mentors Lucius. He also works as an arms dealer while providing food and oil to the armies in Europe. Ridley Scott described him as a pretty effing cruel to the arena fighters. So that's
So you're
his.
telling me Denzel is gonna be Frank Lucas of Gladiator? Is that what we're telling me now? So he's basically a gangster in Roman. Come on, man. Even that synopsis is so. Oh my
It's
god.
Mad Max. It's Mad Max. They know the audience that they're serving is predominantly white. However, those characters that he is describing really existed. Now they didn't exist in the way that he just read. There's a little, but there's some Hollywoodism added to what Ron just said. But as far as historically, yes, there were that character that he is playing represents he's from a nation of predominantly black people, and those people did exist. They were merchants and traders and arms dealers within Rome at that time. It was a real thing. So
That's all well and dandy, Leroy. But I just feel a way that you throw in a legendary black actor, in my
right,
opinion, the greatest black actor of all time. Well, the greatest actor, period. I view him like Nas of acting.
He's the Nas of acting. Yes.
You
Yes.
taking that guy, and you're basically, making him your pseudo stereotypical, mob, not mob boss, but head of a crime organization,
He'll
right?
be
With
one of them.
all these little Caucasian people around. I mean, it's a little racist. I mean, low key, it's a little racist.
I
I
can
mean,
see. I can see that.
I got faith in the movie just because Denzel is in the movie. So I don't think Denzel don't too much. He don't pick too many trash movies.
Yeah,
So
I think.
most
Not to cut you off, Super Duper. I think it's gonna be a dope movie, man. I think the movie's gonna be. I think he's in it for a reason. I didn't like the song choice as Mad Max said. I thought they could have did without that. But other than that, I think it's gonna be a dope movie.
I'm fine with them even picking that song for the trailer just to get black people to want to come out and see the movie. As long as it don't appear in the film. Like there's a scene in the movie where they fighting and then they playing that song. Like don't do that. Like Mad Max said, like that's gonna throw the
Right.
whole, like don't do that at all. But I understand the appeal of playing that song for the trailer or to get black people interested in coming to see a movie about Rome.
Yo, and Rome is dope, man. If y'all ever get a chance to go, my wife. We Coliseum. It was dope. When we got there, it was hot. She was like, she want to go back to the hotel. I said, nah, we done came all the way out here to Rome, baby. We gonna see this Coliseum. So we went inside. We did a tour. The steps are kind of steep, so it was kind of hard. You know what I'm saying? Kind of getting in there like that. You know what I mean? But it was a cool experience. You know what I'm saying?
It's
We had a good time. It was definitely worth checking out, man. Rome was dope. We went to go see the On the Run tour with Jay-Z and Beyonce out there in Italy, man. But it was dope, man. It was a good time. But I'm excited for the movie, man. Italy is a good spot, man. It was the first place I went to where they referred to us as like American. It wasn't like really. It was kind of weird. It wasn't like black or white, even though clearly we black. But it was like, hey, you guys are American. I was like, this is kind of odd. You know what I'm saying? That was the first time that ever happened to me. So
Ron, that doesn't happen. That doesn't happen naturally, though. I mean, no, there's no disrespect. I just think when you go outside the country, if people ask if they hear you speak, they're gonna say you're American. They're not gonna be like you're black. I mean, I don't think they were gonna do that naturally.
I mean, I think these things are important though, because if you ask an average kid, like, well, what did black people do in history? They're gonna be like, well, nothing. Y'all never did nothing. And I think that nothing answer is a problem, because even if you look at the architecture Ron is standing in front of, who came up with that? You know what I mean? It's like we did a lot of stuff, man. We did a lot of stuff in history, and I think we need to know exactly what we did. You know what I mean? We did a lot of stuff. I'm just talking about the design, the design of what buildings would be. Someone had to make those blueprints. Who made those blueprints? So it's like,
you're talking about the pyramids, the Colosseum.
Gotta know what we did, just so we can know. Like, don't believe that we did nothing. Like, oh, y'all didn't do nothing. Like, come on, man, we did stuff.
Hey, yeah, we did, man. I one before we get out of here. Quick question, Super Duper, Mad Max. Did y'all hear the Kodak Black in Fabio Foreign song?
Yes, I haven't had a chance to hear it.
I heard it. It was
any
hilarious.
thoughts on Nip? Any thoughts on Nipsey and his legacy?
Oh, I'm gonna get on Nipsey, but I heard the Fabio Foreign song. It was hilarious. I think Donald Trump does a great job of actually catering to the youth of Black America than Kamala Harris.
Okay,
that's just my opinion. I mean, I don't think the youth of Black America took kindly to Megan Thee Stallion twerking on stage, but everybody was dying when they heard that nasty ass trash. I mean, I'm not gonna say it's super trash, but that song with Fabio and Kodak. I'm never gonna play that song again. But
I mean, Trump is a marketing guy. So if he sells you a message, it's probably gonna hit home. He's a marketing guy.
That's true.
I mean, I haven't heard the song, but what happened to Kodak Black? It seemed like he just fell off the face of the earth. Really, like what? Like what for 1 minute it seemed like he was gonna be one of the hottest little young guys out here for a while. I actually enjoyed Kodak Black's music more than I did like Young Thug's music. Um, but at one point it seemed like he was gonna take a step forward, and now he just like he like in the abyss. He's like a nobody right now.
He had too many drug problems. I
As
think
he-
you can hear it in his voice. He slurs
Yeah,
too much of his words now.
he's got some. They say he's got some demons he's trying to shake. Allegedly. I don't know, but people saying he's got some drug problems. Allegedly.
But
Um,
I think it hurts his vocals, his voice, because he starts to slur, and you don't understand him. And Kodak, when he first came out, he was understand. You could understand him.
right.
So
He's got some problems. He's got some problems. He's got some legal problems as well. Alleged situations he's been involved with. But shout out to Kodak Black, man. Again, we want to see people do well. We don't want to see people leave the game untimely. You know what I mean? But we're not speaking that into existence. We're just hoping that he just continues to go on his path, man. But you're right, Super Duper. I always thought that when back in the day, Kodak was going to be one of those guys that kind of emerge from the pack and break away. And I did like his music more than I did Thugs as well, but it just didn't work
Yeah,
out that way.
he had his moments, So I think he's friends with Donald Trump too. So it's like I'm not surprised they would be on the same song. I think that's his
Well,
actual. I think they communicate like they're friends. They're
didn't,
friendly.
didn't, didn't Trump didn't Trump pardon him or get him out of jail or something like that?
Yeah,
Yeah,
he
he
pardoned
did.
him before he left the White House. His first term, he pardoned him.
Yeah.
Kodak
I
Kodak
mean,
has a good. Kodak has like a lot of soul to his voice. He has a soulful voice when it's
Yeah.
not all drugged up. So when you lose that, he's somebody like he needs to rely more on his voice. And when you losing that, when a rapper loses his voice, I don't care
One
how nice you think his rhymes are or aren't. Once the
one thing
voice goes, he's done.
One thing about drugs that I want to make real quick, just to go back to Nipsey real quick, and because you mentioned the mob earlier. Now take drugs out of the equation because we know that the mafia was involved in drugs, right? So we'll take that out. But that mentality that the mob had, let's say they were doing a legal hustle, like they weren't doing illegal stuff and they weren't killing each other. They might have took over the world with that same mentality. So that parallel I'm making between Nipsey Hussle's type of mentality and the mob type of mentality, and we'll take out the crime. I think that mentality is very powerful. And again, I'm taking out the crime. Let's say the mob wasn't doing crime. Nipsey, he wasn't like doing crime when he established the marathon and that type of mentality. And I just want to end off with saying that business mentality, I think everybody in hip hop should take a piece. We can't take the full thing because we don't know what Nipsey was thinking all the way, but we do kind of have pieces of what he was thinking. And I think hip hop should adopt that seriously.
Respect to Nipsey. I like Nipsey.
Yeah.
But
It's all good.
he pretty much took the Wu-Tang Clan Jay-Z blueprint and ran with it on the West Coast.
Okay.
And that's what he really like. When you talk about buying clothing stores and stuff like, Woolwear, Rockefeller has something. We just talking about business. I'm not willing to attribute that to Nipsey. If you want to say he re-brought that into the consciousness of younger audiences, I'll give him credit for that. But just in terms of overall business, there's about 10 people, just 10 people or entities that I'm taking over Nipsey. Like Hove, you got Cash Money, you got Master P, you got Wu-Tang. I don't think it's a new. It was I.
Yeah,
Because I remember on the hip hop talk show, he was getting a lot of credit for that. It was like, Nipsey was kind of doing something that was already been done. He just did it on the West Coast. So on the West Coast level, I get it. But
what he was doing was super dynamic too, because he wasn't just doing the clothing; it was the cryptocurrency. I know that that was new, but it's also just like the what I say, like that same company he made to develop this Destination Crenshaw. What was it called? Something Opportunity. open opportunity or something like that, that was going to go on into venture off into real estate. Like this dude was about to venture off into buying larger blocks, larger parts of the city. Like he was about to go on and do some crazy stuff that would have equated to hundreds of millions of dollars. So that's a different type of ambition. Now, yes, Wu-Tang had their ambition. I respect it. Master P did, Jay did. I respect all that. I'm not taking nothing away from those guys. But in a short period of time, Nipsey was trying to move a crazy leap forward.
But he was out for like 12 years though, low key.
Right. But just mean in between Crenshaw, the mixtape, and Victory Lap and what he had set up in that time. Because yeah, he had been out a long time, but till when he started getting the capital to invest in these things, it that came around, close to his passing.
I give you that. I'll give you that. I respect what Nipsey did. I just, to me it comes off a little sometimes unfair where a newer guy or a guy who passes, and it's no disrespect, is like they get so much praise and then other dudes get scoffed at and they did it before. That's I just want to like put it in like perspective because that's
he did
against Nipsey. Yeah.
He listened to the people before him for sure.
Master P does that and he don't ever get talked like that.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that even about
my thing.
Even Jeezy, you go to Atlanta, Jeezy own a lot of shit down there. You know what I'm saying? Jeezy, he do a lot for the community as well, but nobody really ever talk about that and speak on it.
But see, he's not just hiring professionals. Like Nipsey was hiring professionals, of course, but he's bringing in people that are just learning, like Vector 90 and that STEM Academy. Those are learning centers. So he's not just bringing in professionals. He was teaching to people that don't know also. You know what I mean?
Shout out to Nipsey, man. We the marathon, the marathon victory lap, it was a special, holds a special place in the community and in the hip hop community, and it'll live longer than all of us, man. But closing thoughts tonight, guys. I'll go around the horn. Mad Max, man. What's your closing thoughts tonight before we get out of here?
Closing thoughts is hip hop is trash right now. Super dookie. I can't. Ron. Ron. I don't think you know this, but my Ice Spice Lotto debates have gotten into my group chats. I've been getting a lot of feedback, a lot of disrespectful feedback, and a lot of those dudes was quiet today when she sold her little 29K. One of them tried to say something slick to me. I was like, yeah, she sold 9 more K than Ice Spice, but she had like double the records. You have double the records and you only sell 9 more K. I mean, they're on the same tier. So who really had a better album?
Well, Lotto had the better album, and then
a lot of those Lotto songs sound the same. Ron.
They're not on the same tier. She had a better.
They are
album.
On the same tier.
They ain't on the same tier. Some levels to this, man. There's levels. Why you think that Joe Budden and all these other cats co-sign Lotto? They ain't doing that.
But Joe Budden doesn't know real music. Joe Budden doesn't know real music. I mean, no disrespect to him. No disrespect to Joe Budden. But I mean, he be picking and choosing who he like and don't like too. I mean, he'll gas Lotto one week, and then does he like Glorilla? I don't know. I don't really respect Joe Budden's opinion because Joe Budden can't really give me a coherent thought on his opinion. He does a lot of I like it, and then he goes talking about something else, then bring it back to the convo, and he really didn't say anything. So, I mean, I don't really know what he's
I just think Mad Max, I don't know what we're listening to. When I listen to Ice Spice and I listen to Lotto, I'm hearing two different MCs, right? I hear somebody that can actually rap, that has the ability. I mean, I'm not saying Ice Spice can't rap. I'm just saying technically
Ice Spice can't rap. Ice Spice cannot rap.
She can't rap.
But Lotto cannot rap either, and that's my problem because I know
Lotto says some things. Lotto says some things that I can understand.
My level of can rap is like Cam. That's my level.
That's a high level.
That's my level of can rap. If you're not Cameron caliber or Prime Murder Mace caliber, You know what I'm saying? You're not
We
that
talking about
level.
we talking about current female MCs, Mad Max. If you
But
if you
even when
looking
you
at
talk about current female MC, I mean, no disrespect to Lotto. I mean, she has a nice little flow, but she doesn't say. To me, her bars are on the same remedial level as Ice Spice. You know, Ice Spice might say, "If you ain't cooking, get off the pot." Lotto might say the same type of bar, like, you know, ice is just water when it melt. Though, like they say the same caliber level bars. They're not really rhyming at no like. I don't see the difference other than the flow and then the beats. Like that's the only difference. They're not really rapping on a different level.
Well,
All right.
they're not Cam. They're not going to be Killer Cam. But I got you.
Well, I'm just saying that's my basis. Cam is my basis. Like if you're not Cam around that, you don't have to be on his level, but at least around there. I can't say you can actually rap because Cam is like, you know, Cam can rhyme, but it's like he not like, you know, the nastiest nigga we ever heard. I mean, come on.
He's nice
Well,
though.
we're gonna
Yeah,
have to
I
have
got a party to go to, y'all.
no doubt, Super Duper. We
I
appreciate
got a
you.
party to go to, but I'm gonna leave y'all. I'm gonna leave y'all with my final thoughts of what I would wrap it up with today. Is it's going back to Prodigy, man. Like when we talk about Prodigy, we like to leave Prodigy and talk about him in the Mobb Deep way, and that's all the credit we want to give him. But Prodigy got some fire albums out there that people just don't recognize or really probably even haven't heard because of the time that they came out. But HNIC, Return of the Mac, Albert Einstein, however you say it, Hell Gleason Dialect, Product of the 80s, them all fire albums. Bumpy Johnson LP, like Prodigy don't get enough credit for his solo work, and most of his solo work did come out in the early 2000s, 2001s, 2s, 3s, 4, 5, somewhere around that time before he passed. But Prodigy was out there putting in a lot of work that he just don't get a lot of respect for. And I think it's because a lot of people really don't know about that music. People don't go back. Go ahead,
It was
Max.
it was a Hegelian dialectic.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Right.
That album was fire. Albert Einstein was fire. Like them albums was fire albums. You know what I'm
I
saying? But
think people compare them to Mobb Deep. I mean, people take those albums and they naturally just compare them to Mobb Deep. That's just what it is. You know what I mean?
I also think that Prodigy, when he made those albums, has a little bit of like ghost face to some people. They just don't know what he's talking about. Because when you talk about Hegelian dialectic, that's like that means pressure from above and below, you know, to bringing together opposites. So that's like, you know, when Prodigy used to say Illuminati want my mind, soul, and my body, secret societies want to keep their eye on me. Like he started getting into that conspiracy theorist. I don't think people was like it was dark for them, but it was dark in a different way that I don't think they could
it was scary. It was
comprehend.
and they didn't know how to find it. And also, like I said, if people naturally are going to compare him to his work with Mobb Deep in my brain, so and they're gonna side,
and that's clearly,
you know,
and that's clearly his best work, you know, hands down. We can't deny that. But you know, nobody really ever try to mention Prodigy's solo work ever.
That's
and
true.
I'm a Prodigy fan. Prodigy's, and he, for me personally, I mean, I listen to Prodigy every single day, one way or another. You know what I'm saying? So for me, he's definitely in my top 5 personal. So is Cam. Cam is in my top 10 personal. You know what I'm saying? Because I listen to their music often. You know what I'm saying? Like, but when we have these conversations, these hip hop conversations, I know that people really listening to Prodigy on the surface level, and they really pretty much only go to like HNIC. The real fans don't really know, like not the real fans, but the casual fans. Half of these dudes don't even know about Return of the Mac or Albert Einstein or the Bumpy Johnson LP or Product of the 80s. They don't really know about these projects like that. So, you know, hey, Ron, let me say this too, man. We need to start giving these dudes some homework, man. Like at the end of the show, we need to start giving guys some homework, man, so they can get their hip hop knowledge up. Like,
that's the homework.
Well, shit. We'll give out the first lesson, Super Duper. What's the lesson? What's the homework lesson for the night, bro? Give it out.
The first homework lesson is to go dig into Prodigy solo work. That's the first, and then we can have a conversation about how great Prodigy really is, or what he ain't or what he is. You know what I'm saying? We can't just cap him off at Mobb Deep. We have to go do your homework, man. A lot of these guys in the chat, they be talking, they don't even do their homework. So
Yeah.
we got to start giving these dudes some homework, man. Get their hip hop knowledge up so we can have these discussions and argue. And then the other part two of the homework is to dig back into Busta Rhymes shit too. So everybody, I'm gonna listen to Busta until the next show, and then I can come back and talk even more better about it. You know what I'm saying? And have more intelligent things to say when we're talking about Busta Rhymes.
No
And
doubt, no doubt.
to
So three homework assignments. We're gonna dig into Prodigy's solo catalog. We're gonna go back and revisit Busta's, and I think we need to go ahead and revisit Luda's as well. Mad Max, what were you saying?
I agree.
To bolster Super Duper's point, I do think it's a problem that if you listen to those album titles, Albert Einstein, Hegelian dialectic, HNIC, when you know what those words mean, or Albert Einstein is like, we know that's a person, but
Right.
It's funny how when Prodigy's, he's clearly making albums about certain intellect or intelligent stuff that they don't, hit the same for a lot of people. It's like you guys just want him to be on that Mobb Deep kill. I mean, he threw some of that stuff still in there for you, but when a brother wants to bring up intellectual things and it's Prodigy, we're not talking about like a dude you don't know. Like it's not like you don't know Prodigy. He's one of them ones. You don't want to listen to that? What's going on there? I mean, I know Old Baldy listening to that, but how many people like Old Baldy's really doing that? You know what I'm saying?
No doubt. Coaching points, guys. Leroy, close us out. What you got to say?
Well, first I'm gonna say rest in peace, Nipsey. I just want people to trust their business, have some business fearlessness, because a lot of people got ideas and they're letting fear hold them back. Trust that, and just go with it. See what happens. But also, I'll agree with the homework. The homework thing. Do your homework on Prodigy's solo work. I'm gonna go back and revisit Prodigy's solo work. And do your homework on Busta. Start with When Disaster Strikes and just work your way up. But them two homeworks, I think people should go back because you're gonna find some gems in both of their catalogs. So that's it.
No doubt. Well, some homework for you guys right now. Make sure you hit like and subscribe. Tell a friend, retweet, shout us out on X, on Facebook, YouTube. Hit like and subscribe. Get us to 100,000 followers so we can have that big festival. Homework assignments, man. For you guys, super duper, man. Enjoy that party tonight. Be safe. Enjoy that party. Turn up. You know what I'm saying? Mad Max, homework assignment for you. Go listen to Lotto's CD again, album again on Spotify. Check it out. And then Leroy, keep doing what you're doing, brother. Find us another album to talk about next week, man. Hit like and subscribe. This is According Hip Hop Weekend Rhyme, the #1 weekend hip hop podcast in the game, man. Peace.
Peace.
Salute.
Yes, sir.